It's just the quality of the brush.
Normally I leave like half drained, half like, oh, that was kind of fun. But that was just like all draining.
Okay, you guys, we're all
Okay.
we're ready.
Okay.
Great. So,
The first is Everbloom.
yeah, so we'll review the consent agenda, right? Yeah. Are we on? Are we on?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, great. So this is a meeting of September 23, and we have a couple of items in the consent agenda. The first one is the melodious plots and the Everbloom cannabis cultivation. Is the applicant here? Online, maybe?
I'm here. Yep, this is Whitney Colley with the applicant team.
Great. So mostly it's a landscape comment.
Yeah.
I look at it online.
So it looks like the hedging there. Can you explain whether you did extend, because I wasn't at the last time I wasn't here for the last presentation. Was the hedge extended or is it as?
So the hedge was not extended. There is a storm drain over on the eastern side that prevents us from extending the hedge. So that was added to the plans and called out. So just one more page. And so now yeah.
There's a note
So
on
that's
that
why it
page.
doesn't
Yeah.
go.
Mhm. So now the storm drain is called out, and we did add a note about hedging the Catalina cherries south of that greenhouse to be between 15 and 20 feet.
Okay.
Right. So that's all it's required,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so the item 2 is Garcia accessory structures. And on the Boxer Street. Hello.
Morning.
Good morning. Yeah. Oh, points. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like we have a memo as well. We can just pull everything up. Sorry, computer being very slow today. That's fine.
So we have an elevation. If you go to the elevation, I think there was a comment on lowering the gable at the end. It looks like you made it match the existing gable.
There were two design related comments. One was that entry right there, the top right, to do like a little king post and beam at that entry, which we did, and I think that was a good idea. And then the other comment was down, I think it's elevation.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. And we also provided existing elevations below if you wanted to cross-reference it. What we did is we maintained the ridge height. And then I think it helps to give a little differentiation.
Yeah, if you look at the south and the other elevation at the bottom, I think it's the it's
And there's not really zero impact on neighbors and
no, it's not very visible, so that will be fine.
And you're not proposing any landscape improvements?
no, not we've got some. We are doing a new pool that'll be under a separate permit.
Okay.
So there'll be some hardscape.
So the drawings are a little bit skimpy on details. Are you copying existing or what?
There's there's some. We're going to be copying mostly existing. We'll have some details on that pergola or that covered entry.
Are they there in the plans?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
And are you proposing any exterior light fixtures? The elevations show some, but we would probably want to see that they're nice, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
They're for preliminary. They're for
Final.
yeah. Right. Yeah.
We've got those on the materials board.
Oh, on the materials board. Okay. Sorry, I didn't.
Yeah.
They're
Okay.
like kind of like down facing gooseneck.
Okay. All right. Well, very good. Yeah. Next time you come to this board, bring some details.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
And then we have the Cape School, the so-called temporary structures. Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, I look at the plans. It went with the canvas awnings.
Yes, at the entries, and then we end of the landscape to shade the parking lot in that front open zone. So and then we checked the light fixtures and made sure the exterior light fixtures are only at the exterior entries, doorways.
The canvas are shown on picture on slide number, where are they?
3.1, we did a kind of rendered elevation just because the manufacturer drawings didn't really show it in context.
Yeah, towards the end, right?
Yeah, I think it's A3.1.
You gotta keep going, yeah, keep going all the way down. Yeah, somewhere around there. Well, no, a little bit higher. These are the landscape, and then up a little bit more.
There.
They have the canvas on and over the doors and windows. So yeah, it provides some shade.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't see it the first time to know whether the landscape was expanded, but it,
Yeah, there was a triangular open area out in front of the project that really had minimal landscape, and there was not much landscaping around the edges of the parking lot. So the comment was to add trees, which was done, and to expand some of the landscape. So that sort of center arrival area out in front of the building has added landscaping around all the parking area.
good. Generally, the plant palette looks good too, so yeah, I think we're good with that.
We're ready to go? Okay, good.
Thank you.
And finally, Henderson is Henderson here. 3997 Foothill Road. Leslie Colassi, Colas, depends how you pronounce that.
Remote.
Remote.
I haven't used it in a while. Leslie, can you hear us?
I can.
Oh, great. Okay. Very good. So we have, we don't have many comments. There's some landscape comments, and on the slide number 10, the elevations are shown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you guys were going to be controlling the screen or I was. My apologies. So yeah, elevations are on sheet 10, and we haven't made many changes with the exception of just clarifying some of the cut-ups on the windows and doors based upon the selected manufacturer.
Now that's good. On the top elevation, on the top of the page, I cannot read which one it is. That gable is not very well drawn, but just be aware that it cannot be built exactly like that. You know,
Yes.
the gable and the eaves, that connection is a little bit off, but I guess good enough.
I struggle with the limitations of the 3D attributes. I'm old school, Mr. Peugeot. I would prefer to draw everything 2D.
So do I. Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. If you're aware, that's fine. But you know, it's just, anyway, close enough.
Yeah.
So just a landscape.
Yeah,
comments.
the layout plan looks fine.
Typical eave details and window details are shown on A500, which is the 13th sheet of the PDF and the 14th sheet.
Yeah.
And then the landscape plan is the last sheet of the set. So if there's any questions about this, I'd be happy to run you through it. We have removed some of the grass area in favor of the pavers that are shown as keynote 2, so that there's a pedestrian access to the front porch. And then we've also removed a bit of the grass immediately adjacent to the board formed planter to create a planting area there between those stepping stones and the front planter.
Okay. Let's see that. You have your WELO calculations on here.
I don't believe that we do at this time.
Okay, and did you have an irrigation plan at all either?
No, we didn't, because the changes that we're making are so modest. We really didn't feel as though it required that.
I think it's probably acceptable. Building and safety may ask when you get to that, but because it's so modest, I think it's acceptable. Alex?
Yep.
The font color's fine.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
We're good with that. Thank you. Okay, so that concludes the consent calendar. Okay, so we'll take a break till we get a quorum.
I inevitably mess with that. Okay. So we'll begin the South Board of Architectural Review meeting for September 23rd, 2022. We'll start with, is there any public comment unrelated to the items today?
Sorry, I have a quick question. This is Whitney Colley. I was on the consent agenda, item 1. We were coming for final approval today. Did we receive that?
Yes, you will,
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, we make it official within the actual agenda, but we review it prior to it. So
Perfect.
you don't have to wait, but you'll get final in about 5 minutes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, and then item 2, oh, was there any other public comment?
So if there's anyone who's attending via Zoom who wants to speak on an item not on today's agenda, just go ahead and raise your hand and I'll call on you. I'm not seeing any hands.
Okay. And on to item 2, agenda status report.
We don't have any changes to today's agenda. However, one of the things that we just want to be careful about is because we are going to have at noon, we'll have to bear forms. We just want to make sure if there's any recusals that we have to do that before noon. So I think that Ms. Grubbs indicated that she's going to have to recuse for item number 8. So we'll just have to make sure to move that up on the agenda. So if there's any other items that members have to recuse on, just let me know so we know to adjust our calendar. And this is why I suppose this is a situation where it's good that we put less time certain because we have that flexibility.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
So we'll just have to keep an eye on that. Number 8.
Thanks, David. And on to the minutes from September 9th.
Hi, this is Nicole Liu. I'm subbing for Alex Tuttle for the beginning of the meeting. So I'm here to make edits to the minutes. I have them pulled up.
Thanks, Nicole.
Thanks.
Just let me know.
Okay, yeah, we can scroll down. Keep going.
Is that large enough?
I think something about the massing I mentioned. I mean, the style is under D, but yeah, I think the style is appropriate, but it's just the massing that it's so awkward because it's like floating with all those toothpicks, the round columns. That was the comment.
Right,
But-
well, letter H references the round columns, maybe that should be moved up.
Okay, so put it, move it up to, where D is after the, yeah. No, move it up after the.
Oh, Nicole will take her.
Oh, okay. So I would say, but architecture style is appropriate, but massing and fenestration need improvement.
Okay.
And then move the H to below D.
Got it.
Okay.
Fine. We have a new member.
She's helping us before.
Okay, is that good?
Yeah.
Okay. What do we have here? That one.
Should that indeed get combined or?
Oh, I see.
Yeah, those could be combined.
I think probably eliminate F. because
Yeah.
It's not
We're
a
not doing
required race.
historical things.
Eliminate F, yeah.
Okay.
All right, cool. Yes.
And B, the word is a little awkward, you know, you can clear up the second, yeah, just the second sentence, yeah. There's too much mass on the second story. Period. Okay. Okay.
Got it.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
Maybe the third sentence on A, windows lack consistency, should be relocated with letter B. It could be the beginning of letter B.
Okay.
Window consistency, we study like 2020, and the portions need further study.
Lily,
It's an equal opportunity dog.
Yeah.
I don't want you going outside. Lily,
Really, come sit with us.
just go on the track.
Can she have one of the chairs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, you understand.
Great. Like Brad.
Yeah.
You guys good with this one?
Yeah.
I think that's good, very nicely done, written, right? Yeah, yeah. It was a hard meeting.
Yeah, we were earning our keep.
This is,
This is the one in Ojai Lane, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was at least something. to keep in mind.
Yeah, I think what happened is the elevations were very
were hard to
difficult,
read.
very impossible. Yeah,
Yeah.
hold on.
We did say that.
Yeah, hold on a second.
We-
Need, I would say start elevations, drawings are very hard to read, and then, and indeed, need more detailed elevations in larger scale. So add that sentence, elevations are very hard to read. I mean, they were impossible to read. You can see in all the details that were
That they
there,
had figured
that
out
they wanted.
already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
got that, Nicole?
Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
Was there any landscape?
Those seemed pretty accurate to what we.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, another one. This is hard to read.
Yeah, it was like that. We had ice training whole day.
Oh, yeah, this one was. This Kevin Moore, wasn't it? This
Yeah,
one? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, this had too much extraneous information.
You had all sorts of information that
Oh,
did
this
not
was
relate to the
complex
project at
stuff.
all.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I know that so it's clear what
Yeah,
has
that's
been
good.
asked. Okay, yeah. B, look to add, is it add?
Yeah.
Yeah, it says add pocket vines on scenic fruit side wall.
Got it.
But what happens, people look, but then. they
Yeah,
don't
I
do
looked
it.
and I.
Been considered.
Well, there was a question about the survey, and that's where the letters, comment C comes. Is that clear? I mean, who's going to ensure this?
Yeah,
Or how about verify that property line is accurately surveyed?
yeah, that's good. That's good.
Verify, I mean, that's
Verify.
directed to the applicant
Yeah.
instead of
On-
me, on C.
On C.
Yeah,
there.
verify the property line is accurately surveyed. Yeah.
Got it.
Hardick has an E at the end, right? H-A-R-D-I-E, right? It's the
Yeah,
name,
I
of,
think
it's the
that's
name of
right.
it's a
the
capital,
brand,
it's
yeah.
a capital H, it's a brand. H, capital A-R-D-I-E.
Got it.
Okay.
Um, Yeah, this was the one that had nice renderings, but hardly any.
Oh, yeah, that one.
drawings.
The drawings were not complete, right?
Yeah.
They were, yeah. Yeah, it was a difficult meeting. That's really, yeah, this one had good render. The renderings were more complete than the
Then the drawing,
than the
then the 2D
elevation.
drawings, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yes,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That was
You didn't even, the drawings didn't have the supports for the overhead structures and stuff shown.
Yeah. So B is provide elevations and site plans of what you are proposing. Provide elevations and site plans that are accurate, that accurately show what you are proposing.
The other thing, we kept bringing up high fire,
Mhm,
and I think it should be on there somewhere.
yeah,
Um,
confirm detailing adheres to high fire zone.
Yeah,
Could you say that again? Confirm detailing.
Confirm architectural detailing adheres to high fire zone requirements.
Okay.
that can just be a separate bullet point.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, this one was really challenging.
It's all coming back.
Yeah. That's a good thing to kind of fit. Because that one technically we weren't supposed to be reviewing the rendering.
Yeah.
We need to make sure our comments are about the
Yeah,
plans that were on this.
Well, this one was easy. Yeah, at least this one came through. Yeah. Tenant. What's on 11? 11 we saw it today, right? The one we saw on consent today. The next, yeah, this one is
It's a different one than we. It's not on consent today. This one?
no,
Number
the
11?
11.
Oh, Garcia, yeah.
oh, really,
Or
with all
no.
those
Oh,
comments?
it's a
Where is the gun? Is it? No, it's not.
different Garcia.
Oh, it's a different.
Yes,
They're the
it's
same last
Garcia.
name, yeah.
It's Garcia Accessory today,
That's-
and this was a new resident.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
Oh,
now it's
I-
coming back. Yes.
Yeah,
Um,
it was a long agenda last
Mm.
time.
Yeah, I left, I had to leave before this one.
Okay.
They were all, and each one has something. Yeah. Provides safety.
Remember this one? Clay presented it. Oh, yes. This is the one that had the concrete
It's the
extension
long,
on
the
it.
long thing.
Yeah,
Was there a comment to push the pool further? I don't know.
yeah, that was my comment, was to put, says, oh yeah, consider pushing pool further from houses.
Inside section.
This doesn't have any outdoor living space. That's the last one.
Wait, let me see. So F, is there a way to say, what does F mean? Further study of those bases necessary. It's a little bit awkward, unclear. What was,
I'm trying to remember what we actually said. I think that's probably what we actually said, but it was because it's to improve livability. It's like their outdoor spaces were not adjacent to the indoor living spaces. They were like kind of pushed off to the side.
disconnected?
You would disconnect.
It's about study connection between indoor and outdoor
Outdoor
spaces.
spaces.
How
Yeah,
about that?
yeah. City connection.
Restudy or reconsider what word?
Yeah, further study connection between indoor and outdoor spaces.
Got it.
Okay, and then wait, hold on a second. Then the G is really was a big item right there.
Yeah. And it was more about first concerned with size, lack of planting, and connection to
Interior.
interior
And
spaces.
the height, because they want everything on the same plane, and that's
Yeah.
partly where all the grading was. The comment was, oh, this grading was not historic, it was just drained away or something like that. But the fact is,
Yeah,
like,
that it was
that thing is
eroded.
gonna be floating up there. I mean,
Almost
I
looks like
think,
you'd have a whole nother floor underneath it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I think you should start with the second, the second sentence. Board is concerned with the size of the main terrace adjacent to the garage. I think board is concerned with the size and
and
the
configuration.
size, elevation, and lack of planting of the main terrace adjacent to the garage.
Okay.
Restudy, period, restudy, something, I think, is that a good?
Yeah,
So board is concerned with the size and lack of planting of the main terrace, of terrace and main floor adjacent to the garage, period, restudy.
sounds good.
Okay.
My chair duties are. for me.
You want to sit in the middle?
All right. And what else do we have? That's it?
That's it.
Okay,
All right,
I'll make a motion to approve the revised minutes.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, all.
Huge, right?
No, you need to recuse from.
Or abstain.
Stay neutral.
We'll move on to our members' informational briefings.
I have to leave at 12. I have to eat lunch at some point. No lunch for you.
Really?
Does anyone else have items they need to be?
I just have to recuse from item 8. I think we already.
So we should try to review 8 before 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
Josh, do you have any recusals on this agenda?
Yeah, think so. Again.
Move on to the, is there a staff update, David?
I. Might be easier for me if I just borrow this. I do want to mention something very briefly. I have a lot of notes from council, but I'm just going to give you the Reader's Digest version of this. So I just want to let you know that there was Assembly Bill 2449 that passed. The governor signed it and goes into effect first of the year. And it amends certain portions of the Brown Act relating to teleconferencing participation by members of legislative bodies during public meetings. So in addition to the options we have today, it amends government code to create new opportunities for less than a majority of the legislative body to attend via teleconferences under certain conditions, so long as a quorum of the body participates with us. In this board, it's 4 members. Participates from a single physical location open to the public. It gets slightly restrictive, so we'll see how much utility this ends up having. It says authorizes less than a majority to participate remotely under just cause or emergency circumstances. And then there are some limiting factors. Just cause is defined as child care or caregiving of a child, parent, grandparent, grandchild, sibling, spouse, or domestic partner that requires them to participate remotely, and contagious illness that prevents a member from attending in person, a need related to physical or mental disability, or travel while on business of the legislative body or another state or local agency. And emergency situations, it goes into a little bit more detail. So this is going to be kind of difficult to implement and enforce. And so our council will give us, I think, some guidance on that in between now and beginning of the year. So I just want to let you know that there is a little bit of a more opportunity to be able to participate remotely in certain situations, but I think that is going to be a little bit more limited than you may think. So I just wanted to.
Did you say that still you need a quorum present?
Yeah, sounds
That's what
like
you
it.
said?
And 4 people
Four
present.
people. So 4 people would have to be here, at least here in the central location available to the public, which means that less than a quorum could attend remotely under certain circumstances, a certain amount of times a year, I think.
Wonderful.
So we'll see how it works. But so just stay tuned. This is just, council just let us know that this passed and was signed. Like I said, goes into effect January 1st next year. Once we get further guidance on that, I'll let the members know. So that was it for me.
Is John okay?
Yeah, have you heard from John?
As you recall, John did make a comment at the last meeting that his medical condition was put his future presence on board into question. He did indicate that today's absence was due to a medical reason. So we'll just, hope for the best for John and see how it goes. He didn't really get into specifics.
I would like him to show up one more time, maybe chair the meeting, maybe just one time. Just do something nice for him. Just try to encourage him to show up one more time.
Okay.
That means we need to start looking at a replacement.
Yeah, what about
So we have Amy Tripp,
yeah,
who's
what about
interested. So I'll email her.
yeah, maybe she should be.
It takes a while, so
Yeah,
if she's
it
gonna
does.
do that. She needs to get.
Is John appointed by the first district, or does it matter, or how does that work?
I'll have to double check, but I'm not sure. I'll have to double check whether or not there's residence requirements for SBAR.
What happens is the third district is hard for.
They're not, because I don't live in
They
the
said
same
that.
district as
Okay.
whoever placed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
and I don't-
Are we getting?
Is that his time?
No, it's the director.
Make it break.
Oh, no, not that door. We'll close the door. Come on, Lily. We're gonna get into trouble. She gets out.
She's very nonchalant.
Yeah. I was just taking a stroll. I don't know what you're so concerned about.
All right, we can move on to the consent agenda items.
Okay.
I think we were able to give final approval to all 4 items, C1, C2, C3, and C4. Alex, you want to?
Oh, yeah, so where the melodious plot Everbloom Cannabis on Sterling Avenue in Carpinteria, and C2 is the Garcia accessory structure at Baxter Street. C3 is the Kate School Health Center, and C4 is the Henderson Addition in Foothill Road. They're both approved as submitted. I mean, I make a motion to approve all of them as submitted.
No, second it.
We need a motion from, we need a vote. from-
Oh, yeah, I vote for it. Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any- Okay, moving on to the agenda. Josh, would you like to take over chair?
My mouth. Yeah, kind of hoping you can just keep going.
I can, but it won't be very smooth.
Are we on timing?
A little behind. I think our applicant for item number 1 is remote.
Okay. All right.
Oh, also, okay, I'm sorry.
All right, so the first item today we have is the Knight Family Trust, single family dwelling and pool. Do we have our applicants here today?
Heidi Jones from Sepsis here, and Doug Giza, our architect team, and Nikos for our landscape team are all here.
Okay, great. Go ahead and let's try. Just looking at the comments here, we got quite a few comments. This is coming back. So here,
It's not that neighbor, it's this one.
this one
It's the one that's,
talking about.
yeah.
And they got a whole planting proposed right along the property line.
So if we go back to the,
Neighbor sits up higher, and this is a 2-story house.
just reviewing the,
This neighbor sits out here, basically, as where her gutters are.
back to the last slide there, David. I'm sorry, not the last one, the second to the last. Or whatever, the landscape plan. I guess it's L1 on 32. So basically, the way I'm interpreting that is there's a swimming pool here and they're asking for some screening along here. Landscape architects want to just comment on that when we get to it. Okay, good. So no, hearing no other or no public interest in speaking today, I'm going to move it back to the board for comments. Why don't we start with the landscape architects, kind of address, please, the concerns of the neighbor and your comments.
Now that we're clarified on which property line those photos were taken from, there's significant screening being proposed along that property line. So, and the rest of the plant palette seems acceptable.
I agree with those comments. The only thing I think is missing is the identification of what the exterior hardscape and materials are, like what the driveway and pool decks, all that. I can find it.
Are you willing to put that comment forward as a condition of the approval, or do you want them to come back?
No, they just need to identify it.
Okay, maybe you can help me make the motion then. Any architectural comments? So there's nothing from the architect, so I'm ready for a motion if you have it.
Just really quick, sorry, Tom, is there any landscape lighting proposed?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, it's like I say, it's what's so special about the property is that it feels like you're in the foothills with oaks and the views and such. So the lighting on the house will all be dark sky. And if there's anything in the landscaping, it would be shielded.
All right, so let's make a motion.
All right, so I'll make a motion to get the project final approval with the condition that when you submit, you'll identify the exterior hardscape and gravel pathways, driveway materials.
Do you have a second?
Second emotion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay, motion carries. Congratulations.
Hi, this is Nicole. Is it both prelim and final approval?
Yeah.
Yes.
The motion was just for final.
Oh,
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
So do we need to reopen the matter to amend that? Or can we?
Just, I think, just clarify. what that's what
Okay,
you're-
so I guess we're gonna reopen the matter.
No.
No,
He's
it's
telling-
fine.
He's telling me to do it.
Just say it
No.
includes preliminary.
You got that? We're not gonna reopen the matter. Great. So just amend the notes.
Got it.
That was the motion you were making, yes?
Well, I assume if you give a
was-
final, you
was
give a
preliminary.
preliminary and final.
Okay,
Sorry.
good. There he is. He's on the record.
I
Great. Okay.
apologize
Item number 3.
Neglecting the.
I don't want any trouble. Okay, we're on to the item number 3, Outback residential addition and remodel. Let's see, we're looking at a conceptual review. Addition and remodel, 112 square feet. Do we have our applicants here?
We just on Zoom.
Okay, Zoom. If you're with us, go ahead. State your name and let's have a brief presentation of your project, please.
Yes, my name is Virginia. I'm the designer for this project. And the subject for this conceptual review, it looks like smaller than the whole project. It's asking for addition of remodel of the entry and with addition of 112 square feet. Being 51 square foot for the entry and 61 using an existing area inside the garage, the existing garage.
Can you ask a favor of you? It sounds like you're moving forwards and away from your mic. Can you just move your mic closer to you?
Yeah, we're having,
Yeah.
speak more clearly into your microphone, please.
Okay. Is it better now?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want me to repeat or?
No, go ahead, just continue.
Okay, so if you see the first page here, the first sheet, it looks way more than you didn't see the existing house, but in the center of the house, you're gonna see the entry that we are adding a second story to the entry of the house. The reason here, the whole context is we are also gonna apply for a second story above the garage for an ADU. Okay, but I had to show the ADU here for you to understand why we have this new entry. So the whole project is an ADU above the garage, a remodel of the internal of the house, of the kitchen, elevation of the living room. We'll just please stop here. Living room, we're gonna elevate the ceiling height and also elevate the roof. I'm gonna tell you how. Wow, if you see the green area here is where we are adding the entry door and the 51 area and the inside the garage, the bathroom, the entry. So we're gonna have a new entry to the garage direct from the house because they didn't have that before, and a half bath. Okay, so but the owners, when they asked me, they said, well, we want the second floor ADU above the garage, but we don't want that to look like a second unit. We want that to harmonize with the house. So how we can do that, like would gonna look like a new house, like some remodelings in the facade with a new entry, and doesn't look like a second unit. So what we propose to elevate not only the ceiling height of the living room, but also elevate the roof, like a continuation of the second story above the garage. So would incorporate, you know, like this one before, yeah, the one before, I'm sorry. Yes, you see in green is the roof above the garage and the roof above the living room and entry. With that, it's gonna be kind of one unit. Okay, if you go a little down, yeah, the bottom picture here is the north elevation on the front of the house. Bottom one, yeah. Yes, this one. On the right, you see a second story above the garage, and the center, the entry, and you see the roof of the entry. It's also the roof of the living room. So it's only those two areas that we are elevating the roof. Also, the idea is to apply metal roof, the same metal roof that we are using for the ADU and the new entry, to add that on top of the existing roof on the part that's one story. The one story is the whole left side of the house and the back, the kitchen. So that would bring us like It's a one unit, everything, it's kind of new, it's the same language. I would say the same typology. And so we would repeat the materials. The house would be kind of white stucco. We're going to use white stucco in front of the house. Some of the wood that we apply in front of the house to kind of make it like a softener, this volume, this mass. We're going to add that a little bit in part of the existing house too. And that's it. Put some, if you want to, yeah, we have here on the left up, you see the white stucco with the dark windows that we're going to have for the ADU, and we're going to change the front facades windows of the existing house to follow the same language. This is
I think we're pretty good there. Let's see if we have any questions. Knight, thank you for a good presentation. I have an initial question.
sure.
Do you have a west elevation to show us? I only see 3 elevations and
Yeah, I noticed that after sending the drawings, and I wanted to add another one. Yes, but if you go to, yeah, the would be, there is no way for me to show you now, right? From my here, but
Yes.
maybe I show you next time.
you want to share your screen, we can let you share your screen.
I can share my screen. Okay, great. So I have here.
1 or 2 tries.
Yes. That's excellent. Thank you.
So you have sharing capabilities. So as soon as you're ready to share your screen, show us. Please just.
How to share my screen. Let's see here. 1 second here.
Green button at the bottom says share screen.
Share screen, Roberto. Where is the share screen here?
At the bottom.
Yeah, but I have to go to the. I have to go to the drawings too. Share screen. It's here, right here. 1 second.
Hold that up.
Okay. Share screen.
All right. While we're
yes. This is the share.
I just want to keep things moving here while you're looking. Do we have any members of the public that wish to speak on this item today? Is there any known letters or comments from public? So we don't have any members of public who want to speak on this item today. I'm going to bring it back to the board for more questions.
Yeah.
So we're trying to answer a question about the west elevation.
Yeah, I think the description of the project, it's a little bit confusing. I think the project should read like it's a combined development with the ADU above the garage and a 112 square foot addition. That should be like the title, because when I was looking at these drawings, I just couldn't figure out where was the.
Yes,
That would be, yeah, it's a comment to maybe when the planner is, they had no assigned planner, so that's probably why the confusion happened. And I'm sure the planner will identify like that. Okay.
Okay, we need to.
I'm having a trouble here too.
All right, well, I'm going to give you about 30 more seconds, and then we're
Oh, 3 more seconds, I guess.
30.
Well, yeah.
Being
Okay, okay, I get that. Option, let's see here. What if I give you this section here?
Oh, thank you. I
Okay.
need elevation. If you
Oh,
don't,
you
have,
need-
you're gonna have to come.
Yeah, because just to show that the roof goes here.
So
Yeah.
you don't, all right, cool.
Elevation, I do have an elevation. And
Just make sure that you bring that next time. Okay.
okay, all right.
So Valerie, you want to kick us off?
I don't really have any concerns with it.
Alex,
No, I do have a lot of concerns.
go back to David.
Yeah, go to the elevation that we have. And, yeah, there are issues of compatibility of the fenestration and the materials. Like in this elevation, the one, if you can shrink it a little bit so I can see the whole page. There we go. That's the east elevation, is that what it is? Yeah, that, you know, if you're raising the roof, you gotta do something with that attic space on top of the bathroom windows over there. You know, that is really not a complete drawing. The awning window on top of the garage, it's a little bit awkward. That's on the, what is, you know, I'm gonna point here. I don't think you can see, you know, first I'm talking about this area, this elevation right here. Yeah.
We are not doing anything there. This is the existing and
Hold on.
This is our turn to talk, and then
Let the board member speak.
I'm sorry. Okay.
You want to have,
So-
I'll give you a couple seconds to rebut.
Yeah.
You
So
don't have to
you're
just sit
moving,
there and be
this
quiet.
roof is to be down here, now it's up.
No, it's talking over me.
Okay, so,
Are they raising the roof
well, yeah,
on?
on the main, on this part right here, this part of the house, yeah. So which is a good idea to raise the roof, it's just that you need to finish up the elevation. Also, the consistency between the fenestration, like the awning window over the garage does not match, you know, the other windows, does not match these windows either. That's one thing. The other one is the materials. I think the choice of materials is good, but they need to be more integrated. So, because right now they don't totally work together. The side of the garage facing the street, which is on this elevation down here. Where are we? Yeah, that is the side. This is the front of the garage. This is the side facing the street. It could be, that could be improved. I mean, it does look like another garage door, basically, with the way it's articulated. Anyway, I think the project is acceptable. It's just that.
So is this roof being replaced here? Alex?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments? Again, to the presenter, we're going to let the board members make comments. I just need you to kind of be silent while they do that. And then if you want to rebut the comments, I'll give you a minute to talk afterwards, okay?
Is the whole first floor roof being raised in pitch height or in plate height, or neither?
So to the applicant, we have a question for you that one of the board members wants to understand.
No. Yeah. The roof of the house, the 1 story, it's not going to be elevated. This is what we have right now. We are just going to remove or add on top of the shingle the metal roof. It's exactly on the same height. If you go for, we have page A04, please. I think it's under photos. Yes, yeah, go a little bit. Yeah, okay, no, down. If you compare, you know, the existing facade here and the bottom drawings, which is the proposed facade, you see the wires, you know, the power wires there.
We see it.
Yeah.
Oh, so you see, it's exactly, it's just the angle. It's a little bit different here, but we are not changing this frame. We are not elevating that. And it's strange, it's a big roof. And because I put some flowers in front, look like it's smaller, the wall in front, but we are not changing this roof, and we are not changing the back of the house roof. We are just elevating the entry and the living room. Everything else, it's going to be the same. It's odd. We can do something, but as you see the picture on your left, the south view house, you see left, bottom left. Yes, below. Yeah, the bottom one where you have the toys. You see the facade with the two little windows. That's what we have there. Of course, we can improve, but we are not doing much at the back of the house. Maybe, maybe no, changing the windows to be all kind of dark and adding this metal roof.
I think we understand that. I think you answered the question.
Yes.
Hear from Ms. Grubb or Mr. Richards.
Is there going to be a proposed landscape plan as part of this?
Not yet, but we can add that.
Renderings show like a new tree and plant.
Yeah, I think that needs to be.
Yeah, we are doing this because, as you see, the existing part of the house, it's kind of needs some improvement. So maybe landscape will help.
Stop. We're trying to have a hearing here. Like, you guys need to stay in line. Okay, so I don't know what we're talking about anymore. Okay, so we need to add some comments to the record. One is we need a west elevation. And they return. Second comment is we'd like you to return with a landscape design showing species and quantities of landscaping being proposed in any new hardscape. Anything else that we need to add for the record?
And identifying any screening between the property.
Okay, and then we want to add another comment, identify screening between neighboring properties. Okay. Hold on, I'm talking to the planner, not talking to the applicant. I've got somebody here writing down notes. Okay, anything else?
Well, I think at least I would say that one member thinks that the windows need to be more compatible, more consistent with each other.
More compatible, more consistent windows on the proposed windows.
With existing, yeah, I mean,
okay, so
because all of the windows will be replaced. Right?
Right, my comments are going to be that the board form faux board form siding on the second story should be restudied. I'm supportive of the board form material on the lower floor, but I think it's probably not successful on the second floor. Like the applicant to look at other alternatives for that. I also think there should be some more study on the roof forms. I think there's a good attempt here to prevent a side loading condition, which is usually a problem with these kind of projects. I think the applicant's doing a good job to mitigate that successfully. Actually compliments to the applicant for that, because this is one of the most difficult things to achieve. And I think it's moving in the right direction. I would add the comment to study the roof pitches. There's just a dramatic difference between the roof pitches on the second story and the lower story. I would be in favor of a steeper roof pitch on the second story, just to make those more compatible. They seem very low roof pitch in comparison to the main roof pitch of the house. It's on the first floor. And I don't think it's going to be fair to ask them to raise the plate height or change the orientation of the roof below. But certainly if that were to turn into if there was some way to adjust that, I just think it seems pretty punitive to be asking for that. So
Yeah.
I would just say, take a look at it, see if you can get the second floor roof, maybe a little steeper roof pitch. You might even consider a gable roof form instead of a hip roof. I don't know if anybody else.
I'm not sure, because
Have
the
a-
hips kind of tuck it down and
Right.
keep it low key.
I mean, I was thinking about asking for a hip roof on the lower floor off to the left to bring
But
that. I
that-
think it's
that
just,
would
But
be-
that's
I
a
don't
big
wanna-
change
That's a big
for
change.
something
yeah,
we're not touching,
Right.
and it's so much steeper
Yeah.
yeah. So
pitch.
I
So
think it's just one board member's. Well, so I would just say study your roof forms as the comment. Let's just say study roof forms and roof pitches as a comment, and leave it at that. But I do have some concerns about the elevation we're not seeing. I'm a little nervous about what I'm seeing peeking out on the right side of the proposed north elevation. So,
Yeah, we need to see that.
really not going to be able to move this forward without that. So please bring that next time. So
Can they come back for concept preliminary?
I think if they're ready, yeah, what do you guys think? So I think we'd be happy to see this come back for further conceptual and preliminary approval. Anybody want to make a comment about the materials before we shut this down?
Well, yeah, what I was reacting to, it seems like there's a lot of interesting materials in the front, but then when you start going around the house, they kind of
They die.
peter out. Yeah, there's maybe on the elevation missing is that question gets answered.
right.
Yeah.
So generally, do we like the material palette?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the board's sympathetic to the palette. I think one of the comments is to study introducing more variations. The finished palette on the south elevation to bring it more into the proportions of what you have on the north elevation.
Yes, it's just a really a question. I was wondering why the garage wouldn't have. I mean, it just seems like that first floor garage wall seems to be so austere. I don't know if anybody feels like that. It just seems like it would be more welcoming with a window that would work for the garage as well. But I don't know. Just a suggestion, I guess.
All right, so study the north elevation garage wall to add more architectural interest.
Yeah, does everybody share that? I mean, I don't want to be the lone dissenter that drives the project.
My feeling is, Alex, is that it's got a little bit to do with the landscape screening and the layering in front of it, but I think something could be done there. If they put a window in there, it's a security issue for the garage, but it's not.
Okay.
I don't.
Yeah, I think it can be dealt with in the landscape.
Let's see what they come back with at the landscape plans, right? And if you look at the picture, there's not a parking space there, is there?
No.
Yeah, so it's
drive
pretty
around.
close. So, yeah, I think there's also maybe an opportunity like a wainscot, to bring something into the elevation there. I don't know. Anyway, I think you should study that. I don't understand how it wraps around either.
Right,
Like,
that's
she's
why
got
we
this
gotta
piece
see
here.
the west.
There's this kind of funky detail going on. This thing's kind of wrapping around, dropping a shadow on it. Anyway, all right. Any other comments? All right, nice work. Thank you. Sorry for all the confusion, but we're just trying to keep them moving here, folks. I need everybody to pay attention. So say that, right?
I think you said you were in the ribbon.
Did you have, thanks. I'm being reminded that I was going to give you a chance to rebut any of the comments. Do you have any further things you want to say about your project before we
Yeah.
go?
Yeah, I think now I just want to make sure that it's understood that we are not doing anything with the roof of the single part of the house, yeah, the existing part. And I understood that it's to understand, try to do something with the garage wall, facade, look into the street, although the idea is to have lots of trees there, so the entrance for the ADU is kind of private to the family and vice versa. So I think the landscape will do a great job here. I tried my best. And I agree that we should repeat some of the materials around the house to have more consistency and to break the volumes. So it's not so plain. Yeah, I think it was great to hear all the suggestions.
Thank you. Very good. All right, we're going to move on. We'll see you next time. Make sure you bring your landscape plan next time. We're moving on to item number 4, the Birch Edition.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Request of Tom Henson, architect for Chris and Catherine Birch. Conceptual review. This is the first time we've seen this. Additions and remodel to existing residence, 135 square foot addition. And new 241 square foot shade structure. Go ahead and state your name for the record and give us a nice presentation. We're going to need you to stand at the lectern. There's a little
I'm not used to this.
cylinder. See that little black cylinder? Ignore the microphone. That looks like it's the little cylinder is what you're speaking.
Okay, I'm Tom Henson from Becker Henson Nixto Architects.
And Stacy Isaac, landscape architect. And Catherine Birch, the homeowner.
Welcome.
So just overview, we have a nice mid-century house that needs some freshening up. And it's very closed off to the beautiful backyard, which is underutilized. And Stacy will be talking more about that.
Can you
Do we
scroll
have
down to the,
existing
yeah, let's go to the
existing photos?
exhibit.
Is that
It should be the
one
first.
point one?
Yeah,
Or
it should be,
1.0.
it should be 1.0, the very first of the landscape set, or L 1.0. Or next, yeah, go down next sheet. There it is.
It's kind of blurry.
Well, the resolution has to come in, I think. Yeah, it's loading. There it is.
Okay, so it's an existing linear, fairly flat roofed mid-century house. It's pretty old school. It's got a small living room, a small separate kitchen, a garage, and the owners want to make it more family friendly. Convert the garage to a family room, open up the kitchen to the living dining space. And we're adding a gable to face out to the backyard to connect the house to the beautiful backyard, which goes to the left on the site plan up above. I guess we can go back to a 1.0. So site plan, house-wise, we're not really changing the footprint. We're expanding a little bit here and there. The dark area in the upper right is where we're converting the existing 2-car garage to a family room. We're also adding a covered loggia on the left to face out to the backyard and to the new pool, which Stacy will talk more about. And we're also adding a shade structure to the north of the pool because it gets pretty hot up here. Not much else to the footprint of the house. That's the shade structure. Next, please. So on the left is the existing house. You can see the living room in the upper right-hand corner, kitchen, dining in the middle, and then the garage. The gable runs north and south, and the eaves are long and low. So there's a long eave on the left side, so you can't really, you don't get a good view of the backyard to the left. So if you can pan over to the right. So the proposed, we're adding another gable at the intersection, sort of a modified Y. So when you come in the front door and you're in the living room, you get the big mid-century gable with the big opening, and you look out at the backyard and the pool. And then we're opening up the kitchen and dining room. And then, as you can see in the upper right, converting the garage into a family room and mudroom and bathroom.
I think the most important thing for us to look at, given that you're kind of not really changing the footprint too much, is you've done some really nice work on your proposed and existing elevations, those comparisons.
All of that, yeah.
It's really good focused on that. I think that's where we're gonna, can you shrink the screen down a little, David? Thanks.
So this is just a gate structure at the end of the pool. It's got a bunker underneath for pool equipment and pool storage. Next slide. That's the roof.
Keep going. Go to the elevations. There you go. So
okay.
You had existing elevations and proposed.
Existing is the top, front, and below is proposed.
Yep.
Okay.
Very good. Next
on the
slide,
right.
please.
Next.
Let's keep going.
And the middle one, that's the main one. The upper left is what you see looking at the backyard now. And we're adding.
Got it.
Here's why we're in a hurry, because you don't have any problems.
Okay.
Landscape.
Yes. Okay. So you can see section cut going through the house and through the landscape. It is a 2-acre property. It's pretty large. And now you can see from the gabled addition off the back of the house that we are then stepping down just like 30 inches to the pool deck and putting the shade structure at the end of the pool. Tried to get it so it really just splits the difference on the cut and fill. So it calcs out pretty even and pretty nestled into the hillside. Screening with the olive trees now going down the driveway from the neighbors in the hillsides above, so they don't see us. And then a lot of screening was added on the back side of the shade structure, because below grade on the shade structure, we're putting all the pool equipment below grade downstairs, as well as additional storage for the pool toys. long pool set on center from the gabled entry. You can see some retaining walls kind of nestled in, and then going down to just a smaller lower terrace, just DG seating, and then a lawn. We'll do agrostrus palins to begin with on the sod for a play area, and just a pathway down to the existing barn. Landscaping in the front, screening all around. Keeping it pretty native, especially in the lower meadows. And other than, you know, putting in a new lawn, agrostrus palins, everything else is very low water use. You can scroll down through keep going down, there's more elevations of how the pool look, board formed walls. And that's kind of more of the colorations that are going to happen on the house. It's going to be lighter colored, standing seam metal roof, and with a big window too in the shade structure looking out. And then you can see the side elevation of how you enter into the storage unit and how we are stacking, you know, boulder banked walls to really settle it in better for the neighbors from their view. And we did story pull this for the adjacent neighbor.
Yeah.
Get them on,
And that.
make sure that they were okay with everything, that we weren't interrupting their view in order to place it. And then those are the inspirations. That gives you a better idea of what that.
Right, like this, I think you're gonna find that the board really appreciates your project. So let me see if there's any questions before we get any more presentation out of you. Nothing?
I have one question on the
Yeah.
motor court. It seems like it's a lot of paving in the motor court, and so I'm wondering if it's due to fire turnaround, or it's just not showing the hammerhead. So I wasn't sure if that was dictating it.
We take a look at that. Yeah, so we do want to be able to turn around, and we are chip sealing the entire auto court, so it'll all be gravelled and planting within the gravel to make it a lot smaller. But we do have a lot of children and a lot of visitors that come here, and we wanted to, because once you're in there, to be able to navigate and turn the car around too, and also for fire. We did also widen the driveway going down to the lower barns, and we will be putting in a fire hydrant too, because we are with the pool. Because the pool's up on the slope, it gives us this opportunity that halfway down the drive, we're going to have a fire hydrant connected to the pool. So
Very good.
a lot of fire escape.
Your question?
Yes. So are you proposing, you don't have any planting screening? I realize you noted there's no garage windows on the neighbor there, but are you proposing a fence or some sort of privacy between on that property line, since the paving goes right to the.
Oh, yeah, there is actually a lot of screening already on the neighbor's side and against their garage. It just wasn't surveyed because it's on the adjacent property. And their garage that you see on the facade where you see the turnaround has no windows. It's just a 2-story blank facade. And we're definitely they're keeping their screening. Yeah.
All right, any other questions from board? All right, do we have any members of the public that wish to speak on this item today? Do you have any letters or comments? Having seen or heard none, I'm going to bring it back to the board for comments. I would just like to say that I think that the project's really well presented. So it's amazing how quality documents and good drawings seem to go hand in hand with great design every time.
Yeah, you see lots of projects like we do, ones that are carefully thought out and presented stand out.
Apparently people
Very
who
nice.
draw well can design well.
Apparently.
All right.
So,
let's
nice
hear some-
Thank you.
You want to comment on the quality of the architecture?
Yeah, no, the architecture looks really good, and a nice upgrade to that mid-century house and making it livable and connected to the outdoors. And I had a question about the neighbor above, but you've answered that already, so looks good. Thank you.
Great.
Okay, from the landscape architects on the board. Anything?
I'll comment that, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I think the landscape plan is great. I love the way it's rendered. The layout of it is very well thought out. I don't have any critiques of it. I think it would have been helpful to see just the preliminary plant list, but I get kind of where you're going from the photos, so I'll give you all positive comments on the landscape plan.
Thank you.
Well, I'll say I think it's an excellent revival of a mid-century house that had some good bones, and it's just going to a really fine direction. It's very well executed. Appreciate the materials, and I think it's very compatible with the surrounding neighborhood. I'd like to see this come back on consent, but it's going to have to come back with a lot of things included in it. So I put it on agenda. I'd be willing to agendize for preliminary or final on consent, provided that the full landscape documentation come back with the hammerhead, shown on the site plan around the driveway. So that has been confirmed. If you haven't had the fire department review this, it's imperative that you do that.
We have.
Okay, so you need to show some evidence of how they've agreed with you around that turnaround situation, and I think that also will apply to the driveway down to the existing barn structures. But we'll so make sure that you document that and are able to affirm that the fire department's behind you on this, because give you an approval and they don't approve it, you're going to start at the beginning of the line again. That's probably my only concern about that.
We met them on site before we even started this.
We're going to need to see a materials board. We're going to need to see full detailing of all the architectural and landscape elements that are being built. If you bring those back on consent, I believe you'll be successful.
Okay.
And if you're going to do any exterior lighting, make sure that it's dark sky compliant and it's well documented on your drawings. Anything else I'm missing that they would need?
No. The material board can be done online. I mean, it doesn't have to be a material board.
Yeah, it can be digital.
We want stones.
Right? Unless you want to come back to the full board, that's where we'd like to have it go. All right.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, we have the Casa Grande Vista additions, request of Winick Architects, and we're looking at this for the first time, I believe. Conceptual review of 2 additions to the existing single-family dwelling. I'll let the applicant do the rest of the explaining. Go ahead and state your name for the record and give us a brief presentation. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Richard Warner. I'm staff architect with Barry Winick's office, the applicant for the owner. A fairly simple, straightforward project, existing single family residence with detached garage and a detached guest house. If you could go to pages 2, shortly there, followed by 3. On the lower right, you can, on the lower right there, you can see the site, the existing development plan. It's 24-acre parcel. Moving right to left, you see the single family. You see the single family dwelling, there's a partial basement, you see the garage at an angle there, and then you see that to the left, the existing guest house. Project consists of door and window replacement, with the exception of the garage, one opening in the garage, but every other door and window opening in the project's to be replaced. They've been failing in finish and in performance. So that will involve, finishes around the openings. Existing exteriors, plaster and stone. Plan is to restore those finishes. That's the existing plan. You can scroll a little further. That is the proposed plan. They're 2 discrete small additions, one to the kitchen, adding about 130 square feet, one to their dual closets in the master, one of which is being expanded. Both of those are on the north side, facing on tear behind, if you know the area. This is the top of North Ridge, on the ridge. 130 and then 40 square feet respectively for those 2 small additions. That's the existing elevation. The areas highlighted are the areas for the additions. The plan is to maintain, could probably scroll to the next one. The plan is to maintain the existing cornice height or eave height, materials, and finishes. We're investigating different window systems at this point, so we don't have a concrete decision about that, but we're basically staying in kind with the existing house. We're not raising elevations or heights of walls or changing exterior materials. Existing garage remains the same, except for that door that you see on that elevation. That will be replaced. Garage doors remain the same. The windows, all the exterior windows in the guest house. This is the existing. this is proposed. All the exterior windows are to be replaced, the exterior doors as well. This is drawn as if steel. That was our hope and wish, but it's to be sorted out.
I don't think there's any controversy here, so.
I know, I almost feel it. Why couldn't this have had an exemption?
Yeah, I'm not even sure why they made you come here, but
Yeah.
here you are. So
The rumor was that because it's on a ridge, it's maybe a more sensitive. I'm not making excuses for other people, but
let's see. I guess we don't have any questions. Do you have any members of the public that want to speak on this item or any documents submitted by the members of the public? All right, having said that, let's move this back to the board. I'd like to see this come back on consent. Unless there's any comments about it, bring it back on consent, pretty much the way you have it with whatever detailing and materials, right?
Yes, what you end up with.
okay.
So it's gonna be either the steel or it will be a clad, a wood clad. Is that what you're thinking of?
We're hoping for
you figure it out.
hoping for steel, but
Okay.
the owner's got to be.
I think the only thing that needs to be added to your application is some detailing to demonstrate your windows and any other pertinent detailing to the additions. Other than that, I don't see any need for any improvement to the landscape or hardscape. This is a pretty benign application. So we'll agendize you on the consent calendar for preliminary and final.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Very good. Moving on to item number 6, Turnpike Shopping Center overall sign plan. Are we on schedule?
There's a memo for this one.
Okay, we have a memo. This is returning project. It's
Yeah, we had a very good meeting with this project last time.
So I know the planner is here. This is here for a very specific reason. I was wondering if she.
There was a question about that roof sign. Is that it? They call this roof sign.
Who's the planner?
She's online.
All right, Tatiana, are you with us, please?
Yes, I'm here.
Can you give us some context on what we're about to review today before we start this?
Sure. So this is for the overall sign plan that was last heard, I believe, in July. And it includes a modification request for a freestanding sign. So I think originally it was going to come back after it went to the zoning administrator, but since it includes a setback modification for the freestanding sign, that's the sign that will identify the shopping center. It has to be reviewed first right now. The changes that the agent and the architect will discuss address pretty much the comments from the previous review having to do with, different sign sizes, and is now only proposing one sign for the shopping center identification instead of 2 that were previously proposed.
Okay, well, I'm looking at the memo. So just to summarize that, the applicant is proposing one freestanding sign for shopping center identification to be located within the front setback.
It's just a minor encroachment.
Mhm.
So-
3.5 feet, I think it is.
So planning and development planner here finds that the modified setback request complies with the LUDC section, allowing for more than 20% front setback area, at least 16 foot 5 inches from the front. So what they're asking for the BAR to make the following findings in support of the front setback modification to allow one freestanding sign to be located 16 foot 6 inches from the right of way instead of the required 20 feet. The modifications minor in nature will result in better architecture. So that's what they're asking. That's what they're wanting us to do.
I have a question to the staff or the applicant. Has anything else changed? Because we went through every single sign and has anything changed from then to now?
So yeah, the number of the freestanding signs has changed. Some of the other size, sign area and height were changed to comply with the feedback from the July 8th hearing. So that feedback on the recommended size and area has been updated on the overall sign plan per the feedback, including some feedback related to lighting, which I think the architects may discuss when they go over this plan.
All right, well, why don't we do that? Do we have our applicants here?
Hi, this is Rachel Raynor with RRM Design Group. I'm the agent for the Turnpike Shopping Center. And then we will also be having Katie Moses, project architect, and she will be presenting from the hearing room. I'm happy to give a quick introduction, but I think in your discussion just now, you were able to clarify the process for us. Just wanted to say thank you to the board today to re-review this project. I know where we left off last time, as Tatiana alluded to in our July 8th meeting, was that we were going to proceed to the zoning administrator for approval of the sign program for the Turnpike Shopping Center. But we had to file that setback modification application since then. And because of that application request, we had to return to the SBAR before proceeding through our review authority hearing at the zoning administrator for approval of the sign program.
Stop right there, please. So here's what I think needs to happen. Okay, unless there's any controversy about this modification, which I don't sense that there is going to be. What the board wants to know is, they want to know what's changed since the last time we've looked at this. So if you could really condense your presentation to just explain anything that's been changed in the project from the last time I saw it. It is outside,
for sure,
which is outside of what this board asked for in the review of the last project. So in other words, I want to keep this real concise. Like if you improve the design for the board's requirements or requests, then show us how you did that. If you did anything else other than that, show us that and keep it corralled to that. I think we understand the nature of the modification. Don't think we need an extravagant presentation on that.
Let's just look at the site. This is site.
Right.
Okay, can you just confirm that Katie Moses is in the room and I'm unable to see the podium?
She is not.
She's not.
Alrighty.
Next.
Was the board provided the response to the SBAR minutes from the July 8th meeting that we included in our application?
Oh, there is a response. Okay, so
if not, no worries, I can run through them. As Tatiana mentioned, we did revise the sign program since the July SBAR date to accommodate and address the board's comments prior to, as our assumption was, going to the zoning administrator. So there are some minor things that we can touch on, and I'm happy to do that now.
Okay, please do that.
Okay, I'm just gonna respond to the SBAR minutes to keep it streamlined per your request. So there was one comment about no internally illuminated cabinet signs. We've made that clarification on all of our individual sign sheets that are found in the sign program. If you want to go to the monument sign page, whoever is sharing the screen, I think it's page 32.
Okay.
Can you go back one page? I'm sorry, 31. There you go. Thank you.
Amen.
yes.
I'll keep
Say
going.
that again.
Keep going.
That last quicker than I.
You're gonna have to catch up. We're on track and it's going well. So keep going, please.
Okay, monument sign have equal space above and below the lettering. The size of the sign and lettering size are acceptable. Lighting to be shielded to avoid spillover. So the monument signage has been updated per those board comments, and refer to this page for the lighting specifications. And then we have the signage technical plan if you want to look at the specific equal lettering between the signs. So that would be on the next page.
Okay. And then item D, anchor tenant sign.
There is a modification here, isn't it? Like right
Yeah.
there, isn't it?
That is correct, Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have the 6
So you see,
at the.
no, we've already covered that.
Yeah, but can we comment on that? And
Yeah, we can when we get to comments. But I'm just trying to figure out whether or not
Please go to the next page.
Let's get
And
through the,
we,
I'm gonna come back to that. So talk about the anchor tenant sign, item D. What did you do there?
the recommended size by the board was 4-foot maximum letter height, no internal illumination, and maximum 3-inch depth for a 63 square foot total. That anchor tenant signage has been reduced to the recommended amount by the board. If you want to go to that page, I don't have the page number offhand. Katie, I don't know if you do. My guess would be 17.
It is
18.
18.
Okay. All right, so everybody hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, item E, major tenant sign. Proposal is acceptable presented, so there's nothing to talk about. F, secondary minor tenant signs. Please address.
Pin mounted lettering at proposed signs is acceptable. Wall mounted lettering to be 18 inches maximum. Under canopy hanging signs to be 12 inches maximum.
Where can we-
Second, go to the next page. I apologize.
Page 23.
It's 23.
Thanks, Katie.
All right, everybody see that? Okay, all right, let's move on to G.
All under canopy signs to have 12-inch maximum heights.
Okay, where can we see that?
That's noted on this page.
Down at the bottom? There it
And
is.
letter height.
All right, okay, great.
Gonna be Eve.
Right, and then H, projecting signs acceptable, so that's check. And then last item on our list was existing legal non-conforming signs to adhere to new signage requirements, which precludes roof signs. So can you show us how you've documented that?
Go to page 3 of the sign program document. And in the bottom paragraph, second to last paragraph and the second to last sentence, existing legal, so the third paragraph, sorry, and the second to last sentence, existing legal non-conforming signage on site prior to the date of this document is to remain as is. Any changes to existing legal non-conforming signage shall comply with this sign program.
All right, good. Then
Okay.
David, can you return us back to slide 31 and 32? So let's talk about the modification. Any questions there, Alex? Everybody seeing the modification request, the 16'6" setback versus the 20? Everybody's clear about that?
It's a technicality, really.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, so do we have any other questions from the board? Do we have any members of the public that wish to speak on this item? Okay, look, I want to thank the applicant because this could have been one of these items that took an hour and we didn't, you cooperated really well with us and it got done quickly. So thank you. And you did an excellent job documenting it. So thank you for that. Do we have
Yeah,
a
so
motion for?
Well, we should
for
make a
this to-
modification finding.
So we need a finding. So let me go back to the memo and just remind you guys of what's being
We
asked
support
for.
the modification.
In the interest
Yeah,
of
just-
good design because the
Right.
building's in the way.
Okay, so.
Because of existing conditions.
So-
Because of existing.
So here's the finding that they're asking us to make, okay? Supporting the
minor in
modification of one freestanding sign to be located 16'6" instead of 20 feet for better architecture,
Right.
right?
It's minor in nature and it will result in
Okay, so-
better architectural.
So
or
do we need to
site
make
design.
a vote or just a, okay, so,
I make a motion to that effect.
okay, so, okay, we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so moved. You have our,
Is there a way to request returning on consent for final approval?
yes,
Yeah,
there is.
I think so.
You say, how do they do that? They say please, right?
Pretty please?
Yeah, no, I think we're
That's fine.
comfortable with that, yeah. Yeah,
We-
please come back
we
on
spent a
final
lot of
for,
time on
yeah,
that.
we'd like to see this on consent for the last round, so I think we're
good.
there. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Sorry, that
All right.
was quicker than I thought.
Yeah, for some reason, things are moving today.
It's a good day.
It's a good day.
Yeah, I didn't eat breakfast, that's the problem. I'm really grumpy.
That's working.
Well, I was trying to get as much done before we lose are we gonna lose quorum today? I guess not.
Technically, yes,
Well, we need to get
We just have to
through
get to
Yeah.
eight
before
before
Robert
Robert.
does.
Do you want to see 8 now,
So the
just
next-
in case?
Yeah.
Well,
Now
if
we
we can
got-
get, we
there's
can
two
get
more.
through the next two in an hour.
So we have,
Yeah,
all right.
we got an hour.
then
I
our-
have
never mind.
item
Take long.
7 here.
Oh.
Let's
Do we
see.
have any?
So
I'm
the-
sorry, no, he's on. he's in
Item
the-
7, the King alterations.
He's in the participant. I had to promote him.
So we have a request of William Nash Design for the King family. Consider case number conceptual review, exterior and interior remodel to existing residents. Do we have our applicants available?
Yes.
Window replacement.
We have our applicants. Can you please speak? And Mike, give us your name for the record and give us a brief synopsis of where your project located and cited, and then get on with a presentation, please.
Hello. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but my name is William Nash. I am an architectural designer submitting this project on behalf of Vicky King, who's the owner.
Great.
Okay. The residence is located at 2332 Las Canoas Road in the Mission Canyon District of Santa Barbara. Project is roughly 2,000 square feet existing. No additions to the square footage are going to be needed, but it is going to be a gut remodel of the interior, replacing all of the existing doors and windows except for the garage. Stucco is to remain the same, and to replace the existing faux wood roof with a standing seam metal roof. The residence, and some windows, specifically on the south or looking south on the south elevation, will be changed. The bay windows will be deleted, and larger openings, correct, will be bifold doors with a metal look Arcadia system.
So just a clarification, based on what you said, I just want to understand what brought this before this board, because is it the change in the window locations that's driving this?
Yes, there is a few minor alterations to the windows changing, but no additional square footage.
Right, and
Good question about the description.
uh-huh.
Because it says that there's cut and fill, but there's no addition to the structure. Is there site work happening?
There is going to be some site work. If you go to the site plan, I think actually it's further down past the existing images. There we go. That's a good view. Site plan, the driveway for the fire department has to be regraded from a 7 to a 5% slope in the middle, and then a fire turnaround if you go to the next site plan image, topographic. We need a fire turnaround for the fire department.
Why is this? Do we have a planner on today? Who's doing our planning notes today? Is Alex here?
No, it's Nicole.
Nicole, are you with us?
I'm here.
Alex. Wow. Hey, Nicole.
I'm back.
Hey, Alex, can you? Sorry, applicant, please excuse us for a second. I just want to figure out. Can you? This seems like a very minor project.
It's just some material.
Like they're getting pushed into a whole new driveway for a material change to the exterior of the house with new windows. How's this happening?
As far as the driveway, the application was submitted with the proposed driveway. So I'm not sure. I don't know. It was something that we required. Maybe fire had asked for it. I'm not sure the impetus for the driveway improvement, but all I know is when the application was submitted, it included that component.
Couldn't this project have avoided architectural review and all that just to get it seems like they just want replacement of existing finishes and a minor interior remodel and some new windows.
It's odd that the family would require review access, no new area, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
mean,
they
that's-
want to do it,
It's with a lot of cost. I'm happy to review the project. I just wanted to, so I'm just gonna advise the applicant that you may want to sit down with the planning staff and figure out the scope of your application and whether or not any of the things that are being required are necessary or required in general. So
Sure. Okay. Well, it was my understanding that since this is going to be a whole home remodel, we are adding a bathroom, but within the existing square footage footprint. It is my understanding that this home has to be from a non-sprinkler to a sprinkler, which triggers a fire department turnaround.
oh, okay. All right.
But
Well,
I could be wrong on that.
that sounds about right. But I think from a Board of Architecture review, this is pretty benign. I mean, we're only looking at a change of finish and some new window packages, which that should probably not have to come to this board. But
Okay. Well, I guess how do I go up? This is my first time, obviously, going Santa Barbara architectural
yeah,
review. So
we're here, and I would say, you know, if you're happy with everything, just have it returned for prelim, final, and consent. And
yeah, I think we're gonna do our best to make this as painless as possible. So
and you know, we can moving forward. I mean, Mission Canyon is tough as well as some other areas where basically everything goes.
Yeah, that's what I think this might have gotten somebody nervous. So let's move this forward. So you can continue to present, but I think we're looking at your documents. They look like you have very complete documents on the exterior.
Let's look at the
We're just kind of looking at your exterior elevations. We understand your new driveway. We understand the fire department's looked at it. So I think
that's existing, right?
Let me ask you, do we have any members of the public that wish to speak on this item today? Have any letters or comments? Okay, so having seen none, I'm going to bring it back to the board.
Can we see the proposal?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is pretty basic.
Changing the doors.
Yeah. So what kind of windows are you using? Are you proposing?
I said Arcadia.
We're proposing a steel look Arcadia, bifold door system, and some swing doors and.
And then it looks like you're replacing the roof, a standing seam.
Yeah,
correct.
I would suggest a narrower spacing of the standing of the pans. Those look like 24 inches or more. For a small roof, I just suggest to use a smaller, what do you call it? Smaller spacing, like 16 inches. It makes it look less, factory like industrially. It's just a suggestion, really.
All right. So we're gonna. So do we have any other comments from the applicant? All right. So we're gonna have you return on consent. We're gonna agendize you for preliminary and final approval. I think the only thing that I'm seeing missing from your set of drawings is probably some window detailing and any information about the finished package in the form of a materials board. So you can do that. You know, just demonstrate what the different materials are in the exterior as a palette and make a materials board digitally for that, and then show any exterior lighting. Make sure it's dark. Make sure it's dark sky compliant. I don't see any requirement for or need for new landscaping other than any disturbed areas that occur due to the grading project or the new driveway project. So if there is any, bring some information on that, but you certainly don't need a landscape architect for that or page. The comment that has been made by the board is that study your roof spacing on your standing seam roof. Consider something more like 16 inches or 18 inches and come back and see us with those things. I think we can move you through it. And then that concludes this matter. But I'd say on advisement, might want to find out a little bit more about what these thresholds are.
I do have, one additional thing from the applicant. I do actually have a materials review as well on the plans.
Okay, good. Bring that.
And
calendar too. Let's have a look at it here.
What page is it?
What page is it?
I would have to, I think, there we go.
Yep.
So pretty much everything is to remain, it should be white stucco. It's going to be, the board and batten will be replaced with the vertical comb siding.
Yep, we see it.
Painting seam metal roof and dark sky compliant exterior lighting to be replacing the existing.
All right, perfect. Bring that back with you next time.
All right.
Good. Do some homework. Make sure that you're not getting over processed.
Sure. You know, you can never be too sure, right?
We'll see.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
On to the ferry edition. Number 8, item 8, we have one of our members refusing and leaves the 4 of us. So this is a request of Dennis Thompson. You have him with us today.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning. Go ahead and state your name for the record and give us a presentation.
Sure. I'm Dennis Thompson, architect for David Ferry, and Justin Manuel from Arcadia should be available as well about the landscape. The project is on a private lane off of Ladera Lane, so it's quite a ways off of any public street, and you can see in the upper left here, this private lane swings away from the house, so our driveway passes through another parcel before it gets down to the house, and you can see the 5-acre parcel highlighted in orange. Existing 1-story house. We can look at some pictures on the next sheet. Here's a survey. Yeah, here's a site plan showing enhanced landscape, fire department turnaround in the driveway. On the left is a garage and workshop we're not touching. Basically, if we can go back one sheet, sorry, I jumped a little fast there. You can see the house, the footprint of the house has a deep cutout for a south-facing patio. And the main purpose of this project is to fill that in and make it part of the interior of the house. So I'll show you then photos of the house on the subsequent sheet. Yeah, you can see here, we're replacing that interior patio with a new trellis shown in just below the house. And next sheet. Yeah, here are photos of the house. The view number 1 is the south side, so you can see that deep cutout for the patio. That's the part we'll be filling in. We're keeping the existing materials, and at the moment, the existing colors. Look at view number 4 for a sec. That's the approach. Yeah, there's the approach of the front door in the right corner. We're going to pop out a section of the kitchen just to the left of the front door, and we're going to add an arcade that will take us from this view into the front door. Scroll down a little bit and you'll see pictures of the, this is view number 5 is from the east end. View number 6 is from the driveway approach. We'll be removing that trellis. Let's go down a little more. You'll see a couple pictures of the accessory building. We're not touching that for this project. And then I have existing and proposed floor plan on the next sheet. You have to zoom out a little bit to see the, yeah, the sheet contains the proposed, okay. The lower right corner is the proposed floor plan. You can see where the dining table is, that's the present patio. And there's a pop out on the north side to make a larger kitchen. And then if you look at the roof plan, really the only thing changing on the roof plan is that little L piece of arcade added on the north side of the house for the kitchen and for the entry arcade. We'll see, looking at the elevations now, the new roofs will, the small new roofs will be mission tile to match the existing. The windows will all be replaced. So they'll be, we're talking about metal windows at the moment, casements with multi-light. There's one other little structure I think I failed to mention. That's the On the upper right of this page, you see we're adding a little entry gate. So there's a little more sense of entry and direction to find that front door. And I think that's it.
I'm pretty sure it is. Pretty straightforward stuff here. All right, do we have any members of the public that wish to speak on this? Okay, no comments or letters. Do we have any? I don't think we have any questions. Do we have any burning questions to ask? All right, let's make some comments and see if we can have Mr. Thompson back here for consent on preliminary and final. My only comment is just, I think, return to consent with appropriate details and materials. And the board always appreciates seeing the existing elevations against proposed elevations, but in this case, I don't think it's imperative, but that's always helpful. Anything else?
Nope. Landscape plan looks great.
Yeah, the landscape plan
I know it wasn't presented.
has been looked at. It's, do you want to make any presentation on it, or do we see anything missing there? Mr. Thompson, if you want to do any.
Yeah.
This is
Justin.
Justin from Arcadia.
Okay.
I can give a pretty brief rundown. So starting from the top, as he mentioned, or sorry, yeah, on that plan there. Starting from the top, we've got the driveway coming in. The motor court is changing to a gravel motor court, just kind of sprucing up the planting all around that, adding some oaks and some olives. We're adding, as you come around the north side of the main house, the residence, kind of making more of a hacienda entrance there, with all the stone and the fountain. Coming through the house to the back, we've got an arbor with lawn on each side. There's existing lawn, and the owners really like lawn, so they wanted to keep that in the project. Coming down to a more, I guess, linear pool deck. We actually have a more recent pool. It's that pool shown as existing. We're just proposing one basically the exact same size but rectangular in the exact same place, with the same pool deck going around it. So really no changes besides it's just rectangle instead of the funky shape there. And then the spa's going away. To the left of that is all the existing oaks are the white kind of squiggly tree symbol you see on the edges of the plan. So to the left of the pool is just a really naturalized oak woodland. We're just trying to add planting between the main house and the garage to create, visual separation. So that's all just naturalized low water use planting. And then a bocce court a little bit further to the left. And that's the gist of it. Everything is minimal. You can't really see this from any other property. Yeah, we're just kind of wanting to respect what's already there and then make it a little bit more organized.
Okay, very good. Return on consent. I think that's it, right?
Yeah. Preliminary final.
Preliminary and final. Thanks, guys. We'll see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, going on to item number 9. So we have 9, 10, and 11, and we're done. You want to power through?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, item 9, Proctor LLC deck.
Yay, Bill.
Okay, are we ready?
So I think, let me see, is Kaylee coming back? Kylie? Yeah, hold on 1 second, please.
Okay.
So we have request Atelier architect for Sally and Hans Twege. Conceptual review, preliminary approval of a deck addition approximately 398 square feet. So keyword there being preliminary. So go ahead and state your name for the record and give us a brief presentation.
Okay. My name is Hunter McGrath. I'm here from Taille Architect's office as the applicant and agent, representing Sally and Hans Twege for the Procore deck project. So on the cover sheet here, we have the, if we're looking at the photos from the top to the bottom, the front of the structure faces the street inland towards the mountains, and the project is taking place on the rear side of the property facing the ocean, the south side. in the rear photo, there's the covered porch. That is where we're looking to increase and expand the existing second story deck of 100 square feet to add 400 and make a 500 square foot deck. If we scroll to the bottom two photos that are titled West Side, you can see the existing second story deck that we want to push out to where those existing posts are below. And those would need to be structurally updated. So we can go to the next page unless you have any questions.
I think so.
Okay. Okay, this is the existing floor plan. This is the first floor where the kitchen walks out to the existing deck where we're looking to do work on the second story above. You can go to the next page, please. Okay, so here you see we are looking to come out of the master bedroom, bedroom number 1, by replacing the existing windows that you see on the right side. Those would be replaced like for like, same material and style with sliding doors so that you can access the new deck, which you see on the left side. Okay, we can go to the next, please. Dark sky compliant lighting, just generally placed. Okay, to the next, please. This is the existing view looking from the south side in the backyard, looking at the house. Downstairs you see, I think we lost the screen.
Sorry, we got temporarily disconnected from Zoom, so I think
We'll be right back. Hold
you
on.
hear us now?
I can share my screen as well, if that helps.
Just hold on one second. There we go.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, resume.
Sorry about that. Okay, so if you're standing in the backyard looking at the back of the house, you can see the existing covered porch and that existing window that we're looking to replace to be doors. The siding would be to match like for like, and the new cable railing is what you see there. And I do have a picture of the next door neighbor at 2123 that's done some similar work. If you're interested in seeing it.
Not really.
Okay.
All right. I think we get it. Can you go back to page 1? All right. So basically what we're talking about here, folks, just so we're all super clear about how simple it is, this turns into a deck, right? All right. Okay. So any questions about that? Good.
Well,
Really?
yeah, have you read the other comments?
Well, hold on. That's what I want to get to. So do we have any questions about what they're trying to do? Though?
Oh, no.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to public comment. So do we have any members of the public that wish to speak today? Okay, do we have any letters or any comment in our inbox on this? The answer is yes.
Yeah, they are concerned about the impact that the deck will make, and they have some photographs, a few photographs attached. There you go. This is what they see now, and what they're reflecting is okay. So that's what they're showing a little bit.
So the neighbor has a view of the existing deck, and then we'll have a view of the existing or the proposed addition to the deck in that triangular shape shown, right?
Yep.
Okay. And
I think that's
going
it.
back to the letter, what is the concern that they have about that? That it blocks their view? Okay. Alex Tuttle, are you still with us? Sorry, Alex, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I'm not a full presenter. Anyways, I am here.
Yes. Can you just briefly comment on what, how do I want to say this?
What our purview is.
What our purview is protecting views and, or what a protected view is or isn't, or how, maybe the appropriate analysis or the framework for the appropriate analysis of this kind of controversy.
Alex, he might be not a presenter right now. Check this. Oh, I thought that's what he said. He's having issues with his mic.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
If you're talking about like public versus private views, maybe is that what you're asking about? Or what your purview is, then, you know, generally our policies and ordinance standards don't protect private views. However, you are charged with neighborhood compatibility. And to the extent that private view sheds can be considered part of neighborhood compatibility, that's kind of where you're charged with.
Okay, good. Does everybody understand that? All right. So do we have any other public comment? You want to review? I think we understand the proposal. I think we understand the concern of the neighbor, and I think we understand the general parameters of our purview on this, and certainly understand neighborhood compatibility issues. So any questions from the board before we proceed?
I'd like to see the picture that the applicant mentioned of another neighbor that did a similar deck.
Okay, so now back to the applicant. I think we're interested in the other deck now. Can we see that?
Yes, I clicked share screen and it says disabled.
I can make you go ahead.
Go ahead, try it again, please.
Okay. All right, can you see my screen?
I can see you.
Here it comes.
There you go.
Okay, so here is the neighbor. This is 2021, or sorry, 2121 is our clients here, and then this is the house next to it here.
And so the neighbor to the east, I believe it is, has a similar deck.
Yes.
And to the west, northwest is the one who has raised the concern, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. All right. Can you go back to the elevations, David? When you look at that elevation drawing that the architect submitted at that side.
Yeah, I have a question to the applicant.
The other side.
Sure.
There we go. The other side. Where's the side that the neighbor is concerned about? There it is. Thank you. Okay.
I have a question. How are you going to, what are you going to do with the posts? You mentioned that you need to, there's a structural need to reinforce the post. I would also say there is a visual need to reinforce the post, but what's your approach for that?
They would be structurally reinforced. The structural plans are being prepared right now in lieu of this. But I do realize the neighbor has, a thicker base, but it would be reinforced, whether it be a bigger.
You don't have a plan. You're relying on your structural engineer to design it. I mean,
I think I understand.
Okay. All right. Very good. Okay.
All right. So let's bring it back for comments. We're here on conceptual preliminary review. So I'm going to say that until the applicant consults their structural engineer and completes their design, I don't think we should continue on with this. Because I don't believe what we're seeing today represents a structurally sound or complete design. There's a potential for that column, the two columns support, or the columns supporting that to need more shear or larger support structure. So what I'm going to recommend is that we table this, have the applicant finish their design with their structural consultant, and then come back and represent it.
Wait. Can you show the other elevation, which is the south, or what is this? Yeah, this one, right? Can you enlarge the proposed? Just go to the proposed only, and make it really large so we can see it. This a little bit bigger. I think, and I would like to see the bottom post to get much larger.
Oh.
I have a comment. I'd like to say a couple of things. I don't have any issue with the application itself in terms of the deck, the second story deck. I just think that it's not very well rendered in this. It's a little bit confusing with all these lines, but it is kind of top heavy. It seems like it is a heavy, with all that lower part of the railing being solid, resting on a thin beam with very thin posts. It is not really a balance. I don't think that a change, a beefing up of the first floor will not impact the neighbors, or it will only benefit the design. So I don't see that, I would like to see that. I think that the use of shingles around the deck, it's doesn't work so well. I wish it could be minimized, and perhaps even the corners. That also will have the extra benefit of giving the neighbor more view, a better view.
All right, let me summarize this and see if anybody on the board differs from what was just said. So number one, I think the general proposal is supported and acceptable. There needs to be a study on, or a completion of the design through the support structure, which would probably result in a thickening of the posts or an addition of structure to the carrying to offset the torsion and the lateral forces that are going to be having to compensate for, right? So then the other aesthetic comments were about reviewing the shingle pattern, or the use of shingles on the addition. Can you extrapolate on that a little bit?
Yeah,
more?
I think the design of the railing with half shingles and half wire, it's a little bit awkward. Maybe like proportions, maybe it should be like 2/3, 1/3, or maybe a different material for the bottom part. I'm not sure.
Well, one of the things you could say is that there's 3 posts, right? And on the 2 flanking sides, the right and left posts translate upward, and it creates a post on the second deck. So maybe a third one in the center to kind of.
Well, no, I was just thinking eliminating them. If I were to me, if it was my project, I would offer, well, maybe no. I would, if this is up for, if the floor, if the bottom structure is to be redone, I would use 1, 2, 3, 4 to create a more traditional structure with 3 bays instead of 2 bays, and this it's an awkward dimension for wood. So you have a 1, 2, 3. And then maybe a thinner band in the bottom, and maybe all open on top or something like that. Start working on from that side just to make the bottom more heavy and the top lighter.
Okay, so let's summarize it. So the summary is consider 3 bays instead of 2 in terms of the structural support and how that translates to the upper part of the deck. Revisit or study the detailing of the trim band at the transition between the deck and the columns, and study the detailing in reference to the lower structure to the upper structure in terms of an architectural character, right? Is that okay? So
yeah, I would even consider using the shingles on the posts themselves, making them more solid.
yeah.
I don't think that
So I just want this to return the same agenda. I think it's pretty clear the applicants acknowledge that they haven't consulted a structural engineer or a structural consultant, and they haven't done any study on it. So I think it's actually, in a way, and if unfair that we're even given it as much time as we have because the design's incomplete. So come back with a complete design and try and follow the comments that have given. Alex Tuttle, did we make those comments clear? It's kind of, Alex and I have been kind of batting this thing around.
Here's what I have. Confirmed structural design, bottom support post should be increased in size, consider 3 bays instead of 2. Restudy railing detailing, study ways to make it less heavy. I kind of lost you when you were talking about like the transition or the band or.
So I would say you could just say study detailing between on the transition between the column support and the upper deck. Also, just to the don't know if I want to put this in the record. We'll see where this goes, but I think the applicant should consult with the neighbor who's concerned about this and ask whether or not. I noticed that the side of the deck that they're concerned with has open railings on it. I think it would be neighborly to find out what, given that we're probably going to approve this going forward, whether they would prefer that to be enclosed or maintained with the railing system as proposed. But if it's a privacy issue, enclosing it more would create more privacy, but it also wouldn't incur more blockage of light. So there's a lightness to the railings and there's a privacy issue there. But I'd appreciate if the applicant would investigate that, come back with the best solution for the neighborhood, in terms of just being neighborly. But I don't want to put that in the comments.
That's a good comment.
Maybe there's, I don't know how, maybe figure out an appropriate way to make that into a comment then. Because I can't make a comment for you to go consult with your neighbor. I advise you to do that, but I would say maybe study.
Study privacy issue.
I just don't know which better.
Yeah, right.
It's not my problem, it's theirs, and they're both fine, and I just think, I don't know how to decide that, but I'd like
We're
that.
talking about the solid railing versus a transparent
Yeah,
railing on the side.
I would like that to be, I'd like that to move in favor of whatever the neighbor that's concerned about it is preferential to. So anyway, I don't feel comfortable putting that in the comments, but I'm just bringing it to the conversation on advisement to the applicant to try and represent that to us. Maybe if the concerned neighbor is listening to this, perhaps come back to the next hearing and let us know what happened and what your preference is.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else? So I'm just going to continue this one, right?
Yeah.
Actually,
Preliminary slash.
yeah, I thought it was already on preliminary. So yeah, we can bring this back on further conceptual, preliminary, and final. You're gonna have to bring details. I want to see a structural drawing set.
Yeah.
If you're gonna try and get final. All right.
Okay.
Okay, moving on. Item number 10, Carp Edition. Natalie Cope Phillips, architect for David and Rita Carp, considering conceptual and preliminary approval of an addition of approximately 201 square feet to the existing residence. So this was we haven't seen this before, but it's been agendized as, again, with a preliminary approval opportunity today. Do you have our applicants?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, go ahead and make your presentation.
There you go.
Okay. Hi, I'm Natalie Cope Phillips with CSA Architects. I'm here as the architect for David and Rita Carp. If you could please go to the next slide, which is the site plan. Thank you. Everyone's familiar with Summerland, but oceans to the south, in addition to the 101, and north of this property is open space on the hillside. So this is a project that's just requesting a small 200 square foot addition to an existing 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath house that's in the cottages at Summerland. The addition's located over top of the garage, which is highlighted in the dark shaded area right there. Thank you. And it's just over the garage that'll allow for an expansion of the bedroom number 3 and the addition of another bathroom inside. There's no additional square footage proposed on the ground floor at all. The addition is intended to match the existing house finishes, colors, and details. This addition has also, there's a couple minor exterior changes that we'll show during this presentation, which are basically 2 window changes and a small trellis addition. All of this has been approved by the HOA and the Summerland BAR board, and the direct neighbors have also been contacted. So if we can move on, please.
Isn't that it? You're good. Great presentation. Thank you. I'll let you speak more if necessary, but let's move this on. Any questions?
Elevations?
We're looking at those.
If you can stop right, just go back 1. This is the second floor. This is where our addition takes place. The bedroom number 3 on the left side is over top of the garage. We just look at the elevations. We get it.
Oh,
okay, that's fine.
So do
No
do we have
problem.
any questions? Okay. Yeah, hold on. I'm running the meeting.
Sorry.
What, at least trying. What, do we have any, is there any landscape proposed on this project? Okay, do we have any members of the public that want to speak on this item or any letters? Okay, do we have any questions?
Let's take a look at the elevation.
Um,
The other one,
I thought you already looked at everything.
yeah, actually, I did, but I forgot, okay.
He wants to look again.
So these are existing, right? They got the.
Right, if you go one more, you'll see it. There you go.
the blocks. Okay, there we go. Okay, all right, good.
Okay, so do we have any comments from board members?
Seems appropriate to me, minor in nature.
Okay, appropriate, minor in nature.
Preliminary and final on consent.
Okay, so this is the board appreciates the proposal, the way it's submitted. There's, seems compatible with the neighborhood. The additions are matching existing and are done well. I'd say come back next time.
Oh, actually, it's agenda is for preliminary.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
So
come back.
let's make a motion.
One thing I want to make a comment about is just the documentation that we prefer you to take the existing elevation and proposed elevation, put them next to each other on the sheet. So we can compare them. It's a little hard for us to go from one sheet to the next, especially with the digital files. So,
It is for preliminary.
so we have a project here for preliminary approval today. Does anybody want to make a motion to grant preliminary approval as submitted with the comment to come back with the documentation of the existing and proposed elevations on the same sheets?
Actually, they have it as a section.
Yeah, I know, but the elevations aren't.
I'll make that motion.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Come back final on consent.
motion carries. Now come back to final on consent. Bring your details and your documents. As
Thank
we
you.
do. Thank you.
So before we move on to the next item, there is something I wanted to bring up during the course of the meeting. I've been getting some emails from one of the project planners, so this pertains to item number, going all the way back to item number 2. The Noman new residence. This
Yes.
is the one with the comment letter from
The neighbor.
the neighbor.
Mhm.
So she said that she had raised her hand. I didn't see that, but she wanted to comment because she thought that when we went through her comment letter during the review of the meeting, that it was misrepresented and wanted to speak to it. So, I mean, you guys, I think gave
We can,
final approval on that already. And so the planner is asking me, if she felt like her letter is misrepresented, is there a way she could speak to it, even though it's already been reviewed for it in a done deal?
let's
It's up
see.
to you. I mean, she's
So-
not, you'd have to log back in, but I mean,
Hold on.
it's up to you guys.
Yeah. So we already granted final approval.
Yeah.
Okay, I believe we understood the letter and we understand the screening issue, and we heard from our landscape architects and the rest of us agreed that proper screening had been applied to that. So that seemed to be the issue that we were looking at, is the swimming pool, the visibility of it and the screening of it, correct?
Yeah, I read the letter yesterday and I'm pretty familiar with what it meant.
So in the name of, just giving people their voice, if the neighbor wants to speak to us, we're happy to hear from them. I don't believe that's going to have us revisit the issue.
Okay, I'll let the planner know if she wants to reconnect, maybe we can get her at the end.
Yeah, and our apologies that didn't happen. I'm not sure what the problem was, but we're happy to hear from the neighbor. All right, we're going.
Mr. Chair, we heard from the neighbor.
No, I know. I don't think it's going to change the outcome. I just, that if she wants to speak at a public hearing, she can speak.
Yeah.
So if, when that's ready, just interrupt us and we'll create that opportunity. I'm going to move on to item 11. Hopefully we can get that person to the microphone before we finish here. Otherwise, we can invite that person back to the next hearing and we'd love to hear from them. Huh?
So you got final next year.
I know, but she wants to talk.
Oh, yeah.
She wants to tell us something, and and it's a public hearing, and I want to make sure she gets to speak if she wants to speak about it. And, if she doesn't like the approval, there's other measures she can take.
Yeah. So
And then
we're-
All right, so we're on to item 11. This is the PLSB LLC new single family dwelling and accessory structures. We have Mark Lloyd and we have this project's before us for further conceptual and a preliminary approval again. So we have an approval available today. There's a planner memo. We have comments from the previous review. So let me just dive into the planner memo quickly before we start. And then I'll hand it off to the applicant. So planner comments. The applicant is requesting SBAR approval in compliance with one of the sections of the allow the cupola to exceed the height limit of 8 feet in order to provide for architectural character, architectural elements whose aggregate area is less than or equal to 10% of the total roof area of the structure, or 400 square feet, whichever is less, may exceed the height limit by no more than 8 feet when approved by the Board of Architectural Review. So that's where we're at. And that,
I may have to amend that.
Yes.
okay.
Memo. I don't think Katie is here, but my understanding is it's more than just the cupola exceeding the height limit as allowed as an architectural projection, but rather the overall height of the project exceeds the height limit by more than, which necessitates a modification, a formal modification to the height.
I think if you scroll down further in the project description, it mentions it.
Well, let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is for the height modification. That's correct. It also lists the modification number at the very top of the document.
Sorry, I didn't see that. Okay.
So it's a formal height modification. Your board looked at this project a month or so ago.
Okay.
And they're back to get formal action so that if you continue with the direction you're given last time of not being supportive of the height and you take that formal action, then they have an opportunity to move on.
All right. So what we're saying is that the board last time wasn't supportive of something?
Well, if you want to look at your minutes from the last meeting, but yes, that is what happened. They're asking for a height to exceed the height limit.
So there's been no change between.
They have not changed their project, and so they're just back for a formal action to be taken on that modification request.
What we did is we met with our biologist to review the design of the house and the massing of the house as it relates to our monarch butterfly habitat. And the building as designed does benefit as a windbreak at the height that we had proposed, and it performs better at the height that we're showing with that modification. So we wanted to formally address that with the board. And we've actually formally submitted for the modification permit as part of it.
In essence, this modification allows an additional 2.5 feet to the 25-foot height limitation.
I need to get the record straight. Who is just speaking?
This is Paul Rubison with Appleton Partners and Mark Lloyd. Were the presenters.
Okay, good. Can you go ahead and make your presentation, please? Thanks.
Yes. But as
Sorry, I think it would be helpful
out,
just to look at, before they move on, I think it would be helpful just to look at the minutes from the last meeting.
Sorry, sorry, applicant, 1 second here. Say that again. You want us to read the.
I think it would just be helpful to look at the minutes from the last meeting.
Okay, well, we've got 3 items here. SBAR comments. Board welcomes preservation of mature trees, but not convinced house needs to be taller. Consider introducing taller trees or different architectural design instead. B, increasing the height of the residence and pushing it closer to the beach increases its visual prominence and exacerbates its scale relative to the adjacent development. C, pedestrian circulation between the driveways and residence and vehicular circulation and parking layouts requires further study where guest parking will occur. Okay, no action was taken. The project may return for further conceptual review. It's now on the agenda for preliminary as well. All right, so with that, applicants, please proceed.
Okay. So if we move through the set, most of it will look very similar to the previous presentation, although we have further developed the site as part of just the general project development. This is the grading plan. We also have some other site exhibits that show the on-site circulation, parking, turnarounds, etc. But the building placement is as previously presented. If you want to move on to the next sheet. This is the survey. We can move on to the next. And here we have overlaid the proposed buildings on the survey. Next page, please. This actually shows further development of on-site circulation and paths. Parking is coming in through the new east gate along the east property line. And we have also integrated a fire department hammerhead in that area. You can move on to the next page. The floor plans are exactly as they were presented last time. So we can probably just move through each of these. This is the accessory structure, no changes from the last presentation. This is the building elevations showing the height associated with the modification and the floor-to-floor levels. And then the next sheet is the accessory building elevations, which are unchanged from the last presentation. And this is the greenhouse structure. And we can move on. And is that the last page? And so we did just a very simple condensed set that just focused on the buildings and primarily the modification, which relates to the height of the main house.
We go back to the main house elevations.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so do we have any questions from board members?
Yeah, where is the regular height?
You can see it just at the top here. It's not as clear up there, this line. You read what, can you zoom in on what that dimension says right here, David?
31 feet 6 inches.
30 feet 6 inches.
So that's the 30 feet 6 inches max.
And what's
height limit.
what's the allowable height without the mod?
The allowable height would be 28 feet.
Can somebody on the applicant side explain what that's being measured to and kind of cite the precedents for that in the design?
So it is measured from the existing grade at the under the building at its, as measured to the highest point on the roof, and does not include the cupola, which is the architectural feature at the top.
So from the existing grade, but you have a sloping grade, right? So
yes,
taking it from the lowest section at the lowest corner, is that correct?
Well, you'll see that the height actually tapers the same distance across here. So it maintains that 36 all the way through the building. So as the existing grade raises up, that's the line we have to be below for the maximum height.
Well, just to clarify, you're not actually depicting on this sheet what the maximum height is by ordinance. You're depicting what your height request is.
Correct.
Correct. Yeah, the height associated with the modification.
Yeah. So the maximum height allowed by ordinance because of the pitched roof would be 28 feet. So 2.5 foot height increase.
And I think it's important to add as measured from, and let's talk about what the measured from requirement
is measured from existing grade.
Right. But so how do you do that on a sloping grade? Where do you?
Well, the 30.5 foot plane is a sloping plane also.
Right. Yeah, so basically it's any point within the building footprint, we would be no more than 30.5 feet above the existing grade. So,
so I think that
if you measure it at the middle, it'd be the same.
like the better way to depict this is to take a line and offset it from the existing grade to show the profile at the of the grade is measured below. Right now you got a straight line going across the top.
It's not a straight, it's a sloping line.
It's
The red dashed,
Is it? Okay, then.
it
I got
starts lower on the left and it gets higher towards the right.
Yes, I can see that now. It's just hard
Yeah.
to see. Okay, yeah, so that's how you got it. So that dimension is a little bit, I get it. I get it.
Yeah, we could place that dimension really anywhere across the elevation. We placed it over on the far left just because it wasn't in front of the architecture if it was over there.
That's right. That's a good way to explain it. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, you were going to raise a lot of grade on this site, but is this from the natural grade or from your new?
That red line supposedly is the
It's
existing
supposed to be
grade.
natural grade,
It's
right?
Existing. grade.
Exactly. And then the earthwork would be, yeah, well, basically we're creating a flat area around the building. So you're seeing the hard black line of what the proposed modification of the grades would be.
Yeah, so they're pushing a little dirt around, but essentially the house is about 18 to 20 some odd inches above that grade point, right?
Can I say something?
All right, so the kind of clarifications are done. Do we have any members of the public that wish to speak on this before we go into further discussion?
No, one from my number 2 is back.
Do you have any public comment? Okay, please let the neighbor from item 2 know that as soon as we're done with this item, we're going to give her a chance to speak. All right, back to the board for discussion.
Yeah, what I'm used to is in a graphic like this, to see a line, the bottom line, and then offset whatever the ordinance says, in this case, 28 feet. And then the area where the modification is requested is usually shaded. And this also happens on the roof plan and then the request is for so many inches or feet and for an area of so many square feet. I believe there is usually this if it's less than 400 square feet, there is some kind of a right. Isn't some kind of a
Yeah, well, the cupola is in that example.
But I think that would be a more accurate document to document exactly what is being requested.
Yeah, so but in all, we got a cupola, which is basically an architectural projection. It's not part of the overall height,
right.
so I don't.
No, but the other part goes.
2.5 feet of the real roof.
Yeah,
because 2/3 up the roof, I don't know, somewhere, but that's the way it should be presented as a formal document.
2/3 up the way the
I
roof.
think we should have that in order to.
What am I missing here?
So if you were 2.5 feet down from that red line,
Yes.
that's where the max height is
Oh, okay.
without a
Got it.
modification. So I think the
That's
difference,
correct.
if we had just the cupola, it would have been a
Yeah,
variance,
that's-
right? And this is a modification because it's.
I already got it. It would be 25. The roof pitch is 28.
Right, so they're at 20. So they're not showing that. Cool.
Well, but I think it should be, the document should show exactly what is it that you're asking for, right? Like when you make a request, show a graphic with a broken line saying, this is what the ordinance says, this is what I'm proposing.
Right.
For clarity, Paul, do you have it noted anywhere how many square feet is projected above the max allowable height?
You're saying that if we were to get the area of the roof that is above, basically at that line.
Yeah, 28 to 30 and a half.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could calculate that.
Okay, I guess that's the quantify. That's what makes it either a variance or modification or.
Well, so just to clarify, this is Alex. So there's kind of two different things going on. One is like the cupola, and the allowance that the cupola is falling under, which applies to architectural elements, or that's how it's intended to apply to architectural projections or architectural elements whose roof, that doesn't exceed 400 square feet of roof area or 10%, whichever is less. I don't know that you would normally characterize just, the roof form an architectural element. I guess that's up to you all, but even if they were to show that the roof was within that 400 square foot limit, I don't know that that's the intent of that provision.
The roof,
You'd have to call the roof, the entire roof, basically an architectural element.
Yeah, which we.
well, insofar as it's a, yeah, I mean, I don't have a hard time getting there.
What I wanted to document is the modification affects so many square feet of roof.
Yeah.
That I think is a proper way to make a request. Yeah.
Yeah, we also have so there's other things that can be reviewed here. You got a 12-foot floor to floor, first to second floor, and you got a 9-foot plate height. Okay, so what about an 8'6" plate height and a you know, I mean, what happens when you tuck it in a little bit? Is that been discussed?
Well, that's what we discussed at the last meeting.
Okay, it's not, it didn't get carried into the record. So let me
Well,
put a pin in this for one quick second. I just want to get to these some other more maybe benign items. We got board welcomes preservation of mature trees, so that's check. But not convinced house needs to be taller. Okay, so that's what we're talking about. Consider using taller trees and different architectural design instead. So do we introduce any taller trees? I just want the applicant to answer that.
Did you missed the last meeting?
I know, that's what I'm trying to
No,
find out.
you missed a lot.
Okay,
There was a huge presentation
I
about
get
the
it.
monarch butterflies
Yeah.
and how making the house taller and putting a tree
I
here
get it.
or
I'm
there.
trying to put a pin in that conversation. I just want to know
Well,
I just want to know what happened. So did you introduce any taller trees? Yes or no, applicant?
We did, that was part of our previous presentation. There's 6 large island oaks that we have placed.
You didn't answer my question. Since the last application, since the last.
No, the answer is no.
Okay, good. So, because that's what the comment indicates, that was asked of you at the last meeting. So I'm just trying to clarify that. And then.
Understood.
And then there's circulation between the driveways and residents, and vehicular circulation in the parking layout requires further study. Do we have any, does anybody here have an opinion on that right now? Are we
It
satisfied?
has not been revised since the last.
It has been revised.
Yes, we did revise the parking and circulation.
You added the hammerhead. I had a question about screening between, because it looks like the driveway's right next to the property line.
Okay, well, we have on page 5 here, kind of a depiction of that. So is there any controversy remaining around the pedestrian circulation between the driveways and the residents and the vehicular circulation in the parking lot? Yes or no? I just want to know if we're dwelling on that.
How has it changed?
Yeah.
Well, they didn't have the hammerhead. They didn't have all of that last time. And remember, you couldn't quite get to the house clearly with driveway. So
Yeah.
now they've created.
Yeah, it was a question as to how the guests were going to park, and I think now there is a space for, it looks like 6 or 8 spaces over there.
There's four spaces there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, for a 5,000 square foot house, it's.
Well, you can park in the hammerhead too, so.
No, you can't.
Yeah, they will. So doesn't seem like a lot of energy on that one. So let's go back. So the real issue seems to be about the height of the house and the addition or not of the trees, right?
Mr. Chair, you missed a lot last time.
You
cannot skip that. You cannot just say, oh,
skip what? I can't talk about something I didn't see. I'm just trying to run a meeting, Mr. Peugeot. So I might not even vote on this. I'm a neutral party just trying to get us to the next step. So we had discussion. Okay. Do you want to have continue discussion, or we want to get into comments?
Well, the core of the presentation last time had to do with a biologist that did a whole presentation about monarch butterfly habitat, and that making the house taller was going to make a better windbreak for the habitat of monarch butterfly. And we responded to that we didn't feel that was an appropriate rationale to make a building exceed the height. That there were other ways to do it with taller trees, and that the idea of shortening those plates a little bit, like you just mentioned, is a perfectly reasonable
I guess
solution.
it depends on whether or not you consider the monarch butterflies to be neighbors or not.
Well,
There's a little
I
bit of
mean,
compatibility issue
they're
there.
an important feature, and we're really glad that they've put the energy, because there's lots of mature trees on that property. It's an incredible habitat as it is right now without doing
understand.
anything to it. So the fact that that's being recognized is really good. But to make the building taller in the midst of that argument did not feel like
Well, let
the
me-
final
So
solution.
let me ask a question then. Could we find for the building as proposed with the modification being requested on the merits of the architecture itself? Is there any support for that? Like, I mean, the cupola doesn't seem to be an offensive issue, right? Everybody's. I think
It's
we're-
exempt.
Yes,
Yeah, the
right?
cupola's
So
exempt.
it's the protruding roof structure that's being discussed.
Well, and it's the evolution of this building. The first sketches that we saw were really beautiful. And then the house kind of went on steroids and it became very enlarged, and it still is extremely wide.
So it sounds like the
So to be
opinion I'm
taller
getting
too?
from the you two that are speaking about this is that the addition, what's just under discussion right now is the exemption of the additional roof structure that's not the pergola. And there doesn't seem to be a way you can make a finding to support that modification for it to protrude outside of its height limit, right?
Right, because also the house moved closer to the beach, right? Is that correct?
Well, that was the other thing I
Yeah,
was trying to
I
get
believe
at.
that's right.
And being taller and closer to the beach, and the project keeps going in the wrong
Right,
direction.
and I understand what you're saying. You're not, the argument about the monarch butterflies isn't going to sway you in providing a modification. Although you recognize its importance, that's not the precedence for your modification. I get it. So
Yeah, because the
so
modification
now it's
would
back.
be for good architecture.
I got it. So now it's back to architecture. You're still not there, right? Am I clear?
Yeah, I'm not there, yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else I'm supposed to do that you think I should be doing? Because you guys seem pretty concerned that I'm missing.
No, it's just that
Okay.
the whole presentation with the biology and
Yeah, I
the
got it.
monarchs was an
I got it.
important
But
part
if
of.
it's not driving your, then you made it pretty clear, it's not entering into your thinking about how to review this. You're looking at it purely from an architectural standpoint, not from that. Okay, so seems like what's on the discussion in the notes is the position of the house, the height of the house, right? And then the circulation in the driveways. Because the remaining comment was relates to the location closer to the beach. Like they have the option now to move it back, and they have the option to reduce the height, right? That's where you're continuing this conversation.
Yeah, I mean, there was a big discussion. It has evolved about the size, right? We're talking about the size, and it's like an evolution of the project. And yeah, and I'm to the point where I'm not going to evolve anymore. I mean, it's just, this project is going to a point where it may becomes unacceptable.
Okay. Any discussion from the other side of the table?
I don't have anything. I mean, the application hasn't changed since the last.
Yeah.
I think the comments just kind of stand from the previous meetings, the way I see it.
I would just make the comment that when they come back asking for preliminary approval, that landscape fully developed or a preliminary level landscape
'cause you
plan be
can't-
provided,
you can't
because
see
right
it.
now it's the civil plan.
Okay, so let's get in. So look,
Can I just clarify something for the board? So it is here today for preliminary approval. The applicant is aware of based on the direction from the prior meeting that you are not likely to grant preliminary approval. And they're prepared with that outcome so that they can then take it to the next decision maker, essentially. So really what's before you today is not the whole of the project, but rather sort of the narrower question as to whether the height modification is acceptable.
okay, well, but look, there's,
Normally this project would go to the ZA first and then come back to your board for preliminary and final approval after action on the CDH. But because of the height modification, the sequence gets a little wonky.
Right, but when I look at the SBAR comments from the last meeting, I don't see any clear direction being given to the applicant. What's clear to me is that there was a discussion and nothing materially changed from the previous presentation to today, other than work done in the driveways. So
Right.
nothing about the height.
But yeah, so the direction to the applicant was reduce the height essentially, and the applicant has said they want to stick with their current design.
Right.
And so it's to your board for preliminary, whether that's approval or denial, and they're prepared with that outcome.
The record doesn't show any direction though. That's my point. It doesn't say, we didn't actually give them direction to reduce the height. It says statement here about increasing the height of the residence and pushing it closer to the beach increases its visual prominence and exacerbates the scale of the adjacent development. That's an opinion. That's a statement. There's no direction about what they're supposed to do about it. So
Well, I
we
think
could,
letter A is more of the direction.
we could give them direction that they may or may not take. And that could be a better, if you guys want to create a basis for a denial of the project, then I think we should be careful about how we do that. We should ask for something, and if they don't do it, then you have a better argument there for why you're actually denying the project. You know?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I may address you and the board, it is our understanding from the last meeting comments that there was direction for us to lower the height of the house. We are choosing not to do so. So we are operating as if that direction was given to us at the last hearing.
Okay, then I would recommend that if someone here wants to make a motion to deny the project, that you add language in there that reflects the fact that just came before us, is that we are asking the applicant to make significant reductions in the height of the building, and their position is they will not do that. And that should be some part of the basis of the denial of the project or the motion to do so.
Yeah, I guess I don't see why you as applicants don't want to work with us on this, because you're good architects. You know what you're doing. You know that the building has really mushroomed in scale. Why not work with us?
Mr. Chair, we believe that there is a set of competing policies that deal with this project, and that the priority policy is the enhancement of habitat for the monarch butterflies pursuant to the adopted local coastal plan. So we believe that the design that we are rendering here is consistent with the priority policy of enhancing that habitat.
Okay. Well, it sounds like this board doesn't really want to get involved in that argument. So if we're going to move this forward, I suppose it's time to ask if somebody wants to make a motion.
A question to the staff, Alex. Do we need to make a motion or not?
Yes. Well, I mean,
we can continue.
I can't force you to make a motion. It's agendized for preliminary. So it's ready. I think what you're hearing is this is the project they want to proceed with. They've heard your comments, but they're not open to further modifications to respond to your comments. So
okay, so all right. I guess the motion would be that the board does not support the modification to the where it says here, due to the prominence of the house and the exposure to the public. I think those will be the findings that the modifications, the findings for modification are not there. You know, there's no Russia, no. Let me think about this.
I think where you want to start is that you want to make a motion to deny the project, and the basis of your denial is
But I denied the modification request.
Yeah.
And then not the project.
We don't approve the modification. We just make,
Okay.
we just make finding about it. So we can't find for the justification of the modification. We can put that in the record, and we can deny the project if you want today, so that we can move them forward to the next approval body. And we need to have a basis for that.
Okay, that sounds reasonable. Okay, the motion would be to deny the application because the board does not feel that the modification to the height limit is warranted for a building so prominent in this location.
Okay, well, I'd like to
Is
request.
that the correct motion?
Yeah, I think you should include some language about to just speak to the fact that the board has requested certain reductions in height that the applicant has expressly responded to and is unwilling to conform to.
Well, that's commentary. I think the motion is. The fact is,
It's just not in the record anywhere that we asked them to lower the building down. I know it was discussed at the last meeting, but it's not written in these comments very carefully. So, like,
Okay.
we want them to. We would basically. The problem is we don't have the proper documentation to look at. What we're asking for is that they reduce the height of the building such that the only part exceeding the height limit would be the cupola, and they don't want to do that.
So this is what this is what I have. The board does not support the modification to the height due to the prominence of the house and visibility to the public from the beach. Findings for modification cannot be made. Board had previously requested reductions to the height and the applicant is unwilling to do so.
That's the motion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm just putting those in as comments. I think your motion would just be to deny the modification.
Okay.
Right, but as it goes to the next,
I don't know if
Yeah.
we're not
Board
approving the modification.
needs,
Well, okay, I think the can you read it back again, please, Alex? The motion.
Board, well, the motion would just be to deny the modification, preliminary denial of the modification.
Because
Comments to support that motion are that the board does not support the modification to the height due to the prominence of the house and visibility to the public from the beach. The findings for modification cannot be made, and the board had previously requested reductions to the height, and the applicant is unwilling to do so.
okay,
So-
I'll make that motion
All right,
with
so
those comments.
can there be a comment that the board supports the monarch butterfly habitat, but believes there are other ways than a
I
very
think
tall
we're
building.
basically passing that argument on to the next body. You guys kind of decided that not to get into that, it sounds like. And I don't, if we're not gonna,
Well, just that we should be on record that we're not ignoring that as part of
well,
their.
we actually are, aren't we? Because we're not using that as a basis of
We
design.
recommended that there be other methods to
Right.
create a windbreak
Right.
than a really tall building.
All right, well,
Yeah, I added something like that.
Okay,
Okay, I need a second
second,
vote.
do we have a second?
second.
Okay, we have a second. Any further discussion before we vote? Okay, all those in favor, aye, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Abstentions? I'm abstaining. There's no need for me to vote on this. You guys have four people in the aye column. So the project is denied as submitted.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Honorable Board. Appreciate your efforts and actions.
Yeah, sorry for all the slow down there. I just want to make sure that we're documenting this and sending you on to the next process properly, as best we can.
We understand. Yeah,
Understand. Thank you again.
thank you. Appreciate your time.
Linda, no, Linda has started.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna reopen. So we're gonna open up public comment again here for the last item of the day. Linda, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay, well, our apologies that you weren't able to speak, but we did want to give you an opportunity to speak today at this public hearing. So please go ahead. We'll give you 2 minutes.
Okay, I really appreciate it. I'm speaking for the community on the eastern side of the Nelliman property, which includes 3922, 3920, and 3924. This community has really, time out of mind, had a view across the San Marcos Preserve. And there is a boundary between our homes and Ms. Nelliman's property. I've had discussions with Ms. Nelliman going back at least a year, and with her architect, about hedges that she wishes to plant on this property. And I have even made suggestions for hedges that would be successful, would be acceptable to us, particularly to me, which she has rejected. This was a native plant. And I have spoken to her architect that said maybe there would be an agreement that the hedge could not go higher than 6 feet. The hedges she wants to plant will grow to 16 feet if they're not cut. And we in this community do not wish to be dependent upon the goodwill of whoever resides at 1060 Winther Way for the maintenance of the community vistas in this community. So we would request hedges that are self-limiting, that will not reach 16 feet, that will reach the size of the fence, which is 6 feet, but not go to 16 feet.
Okay. All right, good. And that was the point. I think you wanted to clarify the letter you wrote, and you felt that our discussion maybe had misrepresented what the point or the intent of what you were trying to communicate. So
yeah, it's not that we lack screening or that they haven't provided for not enough screening. I wasn't able to get into the landscape plan to see what they've provided for. I only know what Marian Nelliman has intended. She's been very clear. She wants these hedges that reach 16 feet. And as I've tried compromising with her.
okay, so I think the board understood the importance of privacy and screening, and it sounds like you and your neighbor both appreciate the attempt at privacy and screening. Sounds like the discussion or the debate here is on whether or not the screening will grow to a height that's inappropriate for the view preservation.
That's true. And all of my neighbors agree with me on this point. None of us want these hedges to be growing, to have the potential to be growing to 16 feet.
Okay.
Ms. Nelliman has said she will keep them at the size of the fence, but this is what we want, because we've been here for so long, and this is our community, and this Vista has been part of our community.
Got it. Well, I think we've wanted to make sure that your voice was heard, and we've heard it. We reviewed the project today. Just to summarize, we reviewed it, looked at it from the standpoint of providing appropriate screening. Our expert landscape architects looked at it. The architects in the board looked at it. We looked at the species and the planting, and our opinion was that it's appropriate for the type of screening necessary for this type of situation, and we approved the project. So the project's been approved. It won't be reviewed again by this board. There are measures that you can take if you don't agree with our decision. And with that, I'm going to close public comment. Thank you for speaking today.
Thank you.
All right, do I have a motion for any discussion before we complete today's discussion? Sorry, the last item was, I should have made it more clear to you guys. I'm trying to stay in a very neutral position on that because I wasn't at the last hearing. I'm aware that it was controversial. So it's kind of a I discovered.
Okay, let's close this meeting then.
I think you guys did okay. So do we have a motion to
adjourn?
To adjourn? Do you have a second? Oh, okay, we're adjourned. Have a nice day.